Good evening. Evelyn Ramos, could you please give the invocation this evening?
Good evening. And we're going to start out with Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let us pray. Holy Spirit, we invite your presence into this meeting today. Guard their minds and hearts as they discuss important matters. Grant them your peace that surpasses understanding, keeping them focused and productive. Guide their conversation and inspire creative solutions. In your mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Evelyn. Now we'll call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Alderpersons Clem,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Simmons,
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Stacy will be marked absent at the moment. Shadle,
Here.
Sanders,
Here.
and Sellers.
Here.
And if I would allow a motion to allow Alderman Stacy to remote in.
I'll make the motion. Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Simmons, seconded by Alderman Sellers. Any discussion on that motion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Simmons,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
and Sellers.
Aye.
The motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Alderman Clem.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 1 is the approval of the agenda. I have a couple of changes to that. Items 5 and 6 are the proclamations and swearing in, which will be done immediately after the approval of the agenda. And also item number 23, the bid recommendation is to go to IHC. Item number 26, which is resolution 2025-67. Just as a housekeeping rule, we normally have all of the resolutions put together at one place, but this one is going to be at the end because it's important that we have the approval of the bids for items number 21 through 24 first. So with that, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Is a voice okay for this? Or? Oh, we are roll call all night. My apologies. Clem,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Simmons,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
and Sellers.
Aye.
The motion passes 8-0.
Ms. Norman, if you'd like to join me, or anyone else that might want to join for this proclamation. And you could actually turn towards the camera if you want. Okay. Yeah, you can stand on either side. Okay, so American Freedom Days. Whereas we as Americans celebrate the 4th of July to commemorate our Declaration of Independence and the ultimate freedom of 2 million of our ancestors from the political tyranny of a monarchy, even though over 400,000 of our ancestors remained in physical bondage to some of those so freed. And whereas June 19th commemorates the time over 3/4 of a century later when over 4 million of our ancestors were finally freed from this physical bondage. And now, therefore, I, Jody Miller, Mayor of the City of Freeport, do hereby declare the 2 weeks between June 19th and July 4th as American Freedom Days in Freeport, and invite us all to unite in celebrating our American heritage of liberty as the natural right of all God's children, all created equal.
On behalf of the officers, executive committee, and members of the Freeport branch of the NAACP, thank you for proclaiming Juneteenth through Independence Day as American Freedom Days in Freeport, Illinois. The NAACP began after a deadly race riot rocked the city of Springfield, Illinois. That's Springfield, Illinois, not Mississippi, Alabama, or Georgia, but Springfield, Illinois. Since that time, the NAACP has become the oldest and the boldest civil rights organization in the country. Membership in the NAACP is open to anyone who lives or works within the branch jurisdiction and who supports our purpose. The Freeport branch was reactivated in February of 2021, and we have promoted scholarships for deserving high school seniors, a National Day of Racial Healing event, and we often partner with other organizations that are striving to eliminate racial prejudice and improve the political, educational, social, and economic status of African Americans and other minorities. We inform the community of our existence, our activities, and our events. We solicit new members to do the work of the various committees and to emphasize to the public that the NAACP is open to all who support it. Again, thank you, and I would like for all members of the NAACP, if you would care to stand. Thank you. Once again, thank you for proclaiming the 2 weeks between Juneteenth and Independence Day as American Freedom Days in Freeport as we celebrate the American heritage of liberty as the right for all. Again, thank you.
Mike, where'd we at? Yep. Come on up. Thank you for joining me for this proclamation. Proclamation of Fellowship of Christian Athletes Day. Whereas the youth in our country are hurting due to the vast amount of peer pressure, poor options available to them, and more. And whereas God knows them personally, He cares and He is constantly reaching out to them, which leads them to open their ears and hearts. And whereas the Fellowship of Christian Athletes is dedicated to reaching the youth where they are, both spiritually and physically. And whereas the positivity is presented to the youth is immeasurable and must be replicated throughout our community. Now, therefore, I, Jody Miller, hereby declare June 2nd, 2025 as Fellowship of Christian Athletes Day in the city of Freeport and encourage everyone to learn more about their efforts and join the cause in uplifting our youth.
I would like to thank you very much. Fellowship of Christian Athletes is an international organization that started in 1954, and it combined the passions of faith and athletics to impact the world for Jesus Christ. The mission is to lead every coach and athlete to a stronger relationship with Jesus Christ and His church. FCA does not want to replace any churches or any church programs. They are an additional ministry working alongside of them. The vision is to see the world transformed by Jesus Christ through the influence of coaches and athletes. Our strategy is threefold. We call it E3: engage, equip, and empower. To engage, we need to go out and meet new people and make strong relationships with them, but we need to meet them where they're at, both physically and spiritually. To equip, we pour on the coaches and athletes scripture, prayers, and community, such as Bible studies, which are deemed huddles. To empower, this is achieved by modeling, watching, assisting, and launching. As the FCA associate models a God-fearing relationship with Christ to the coach and athletes, when we start to see either the coach or the athletes increase in their relationship with Christ, we encourage them to go out and model to and speak to other people. But we don't just send them out, we're right there with them. So if they have any questions, problems, we're right there to help. I did hand out paperwork there. A snapshot of FCA's global impact of 2024 is that we have recorded over 53,000 conversions to Christ and have donated almost 220,000 Bibles. And that's all with a staff of less than 3,000 people. My position, I will be representing 6+ counties: Stevenson, Winnebago, Boone, Ogle, Lee, and DeKalb. In those, there's roughly 70 middle schools, 70 high schools, and over 100 colleges within a 100-mile radius. Those are all my responsibility, but I will be focusing on 4 high schools and 2 colleges to get going. The FCA is a donor-supported ministry and relies on the support of generous partners to impact the world for Jesus Christ through sport. My mission's monthly budget is in my paperwork. It is roughly $7,150. All of the inclusions are in there, and ask me about any or all of them. It is not a problem. An individual is not an employee of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes until they are fully funded. So if you are for Fellowship of Christian Athletes and my mission, I would be honored to accept your sponsorship. You can ask me any questions. All my contact information is on the partner card that I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite John Kelly up here. So I'd just like to introduce our newest firefighter. This is firefighter John Kelly. To introduce him, I wrote a few things down because I didn't want to screw it up. So again, this is John Kelly. He started with us on February 18th, what I like to say a 30-year career. Immediately after he started, a week and a half later, he was detailed to the Royal Millville Fire Academy, which he did quite well, won special certificates there. He graduated from Royal Millville on May 2nd, and then he began his assignment on B shift, which is today's shift, on May 21st. He comes to us now as a EMT basic and a basic firefighter operations level. So, welcome.
Chief. Congratulations, John. Just a few words. I'm Commissioner Gridley, and this is Commissioner Bush. And our responsibility on the commission has a number of duties, but one of the great pleasures that we have is being able to interview and to select great candidates for a fantastic department. We have an amazing group on our Freeport Fire Department, and we should be very proud of each and every one of them. But also, one of the things that we talk about is this the kind of person in our time of need that we would depend on to help save our lives, protect our property, and more important, care for our entire community. Not only for our own families, but for every citizen in the city of Freeport. So John, you're standing here today because our confidence is in you, and so is your responsibility to uphold that confidence. So congratulations. It's my pleasure on behalf of the commission to read your official commission. City of Freeport Board of Fire and Police Commission. To all to whom these presents shall come, John M. Kelly, having been duly appointed to the position of firefighter in and for the City of Freeport in the County of Stevenson and State of Illinois, for the term from the 2nd day of June 2025 until his successor shall have been duly appointed and qualified, is hereby fully authorized and empowered to assume and perform all the duties of his said office according to the law and ordinance of said city, and all persons are required to respect him in the discharge of his said duties by the order of the Board and Fire Commission. Congratulations, John.
Yes, we're going to swear you in, so I'm going to give this to you. If you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, John Kelly,
I, John Kelly,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of firefighter
of the office of firefighter
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
You bet.
Nice. What a nice family. Precious.
Okay, we will move on to item number 2, which is the approval of the minutes from the May 19th, 2025 meeting. Is there such a motion?
So move.
Second.
A motion made by Alderman Clem, seconded by Alderman Sellers. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Clem,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Simmons. Parker,
Aye.
Stacy,
Abstain.
I think she said abstain.
abstain. Shadle,
Aye.
Sanders,
No.
and Sellers.
Aye.
The minutes are approved 2 for 5 to 1 to 1. That can't be right. 2 to 1.
We have a few public comments this evening. Ted Odendahl.
Hi, Ted Odendahl of 1405 South Benson. I'm here to just talk briefly about the 10 shared principles of policing, item 16 on the agenda. I've had an opportunity to come to a number of the ward meetings. Council people have invited me, and I've talked with the public about the 10 shared principles, and I'm happy to see it come before the council this evening. Now, the 10 shared principles have been a part of your police department, our police department, for a number of years. You may ask, well, why are you bringing it to the council? And the police chief signed on to it several years ago. And the reason is that at that time, I don't think anyone was aware of anyone in the public was really aware of the 10 shared principles. And at this time, in cooperation working with the chief, but also working with the public at large, we want to bring this forward to say to everyone, this is something we all agree to and we're all working together on. The police department is holding themselves accountable by saying we ascribe to these, and we as the public need to hold ourselves accountable also by saying we ascribe to these. We're all in this together. We all want a better, safer community. And I think stating and adhering to these 10 shared principles is a good start, is a good groundwork in terms of us doing that. So I hope that we'll have all of your support, and I appreciate that support and the time that you've given us along the way. And I should say that this movement or this initiative is coming out of the Criminal Justice Committee of the NAACP. And if you've looked at the 10 shared principles, you know that those are something that the state NAACP organization developed in conjunction with the Illinois Chief of Police Association. So again, thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
Next is Diane Yoakum.
Good evening, I'm Diane Yoakum, and I live at 1004 Bertram Drive here in Freeport, Illinois. I'm here to speak against Agenda Item 11, Ordinance Number 2025-37, and Agenda Item 20, Resolution 2025-66. Power strikes back when certain truths come to light the city doesn't want the public to see or know about, though the public has had lots of questions for a long time that have never had answers. Prophetic voices are not appreciated in their own hometowns, and power and privilege will do whatever it can to silence or squelch prophetic voices, to put them in their place, to discredit them, and use whatever tools they have at their disposal to suppress them. As on the national level, there are times when resistance becomes the only option, especially when power wants to maintain its status quo control. The city made sure of that last week by swearing in an alderperson behind the scenes before the council meeting began. Tonight's agenda for this council meeting is noteworthy in that there are ordinance changes coming into play to give more power to the mayor and the city and lessening some power of the council alderpersons. Steps of punishing retribution are being brought back again by the city to be considered tonight and voted upon. The fines, some are being raised. If you have money to pay a fine, it doesn't touch you as much. If you don't, you're stuck. An example of the enfranchised versus the disenfranchised in our community, a story as old as time itself. Also, this administration is seeking to make it harder to put things on the agenda or to bring certain items back to the agenda by requiring a majority rather than the 2 or 3 alderpersons it once needed. I find these moves to be less democratic and a power grab. Weaken the populace power so the privileged maintain their power and control for the status quo, which benefits them. We know where our local elected state officials stand on their politics. We are seeing the trickle down now by adherents on the local level before our eyes tonight. Silence, suppress, enact further measures of retribution in order to control. Power and control blended with privilege does not always result in just actions. It does reveal the motivations of those behind these moves. It's for the benefit of those who want to maintain their power, control, and privilege over others in the community. It comes across as trying to suppress voices they don't like and finding ways to punish them even more. We, the public, have noticed who has been
Thank you. Your
allowed
time
to
has
get away
expired.
with certain actions and behaviors and who hasn't.
Thank you.
So
Your time has
therefore,
expired.
I ask you to vote no on the resolution and to consider changes to the ordinance.
Kelvin McElwain.
Hi, I'm Kelvin McElwain. I live at 515 West Mosley Street. In the miniseries Band of Brothers, there was a scene where a man at a lower rank was not going to salute a man at a higher rank because they had bad prior history. The major told him, "You salute the rank, not the man." That message is crystal clear. Regardless of how you feel about the person, you respect and honor the rank and act accordingly for the sake of preserving order in the military. The same is true about each and one of these council seats. Regardless of how you feel about who sits in a seat or what they are doing, there are certain duties and rights that seat has that can't be obstructed because we need to protect the democratic process of this city council. Each person in these seats was elected by the people of that ward to represent them on this council. The purpose of each seat is to bring issues and concerns to the council floor for awareness, discussion, or action. The items they bring to the council may be specific to their ward, another part of the city, or citywide issues. The proposed ordinance that changes the requirement for requiring at least 2 alderpersons to place an item on the agenda and changing that to where you need a majority of the city council's approval to place an item on the agenda will damage the integrity of the democratic process for the Freeport City Council. Just like not saluting the rank of a person you don't like damages the order needed for our military to function properly. This ordinance, if passed, would prevent anyone sitting in the council seat today, a year from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now to bring items to the council floor that the people who elected them want to be addressed by the city council. A majority requirement is a very high bar to just bring something to the council floor as an agenda item. If the majority doesn't want to even talk about an issue, it won't make it to the floor. That issue won't even see the light of day. This ordinance will only serve to silence the citizens of Freeport residents by silencing their elected alderperson. And that's just not right. That's not democratic. I have served on this city council, the Freeport School District Board, multiple boards of directors for local organizations, and I have never been part of an organization that required a majority of the group's approval to put an item on the meeting agenda. This requirement doesn't even exist in our United States Congress, nor any of our state legislators. So why would our city council want to operate this way? I'm asking each alderperson to vote no on that part of the ordinance. At the end of the day, your no vote may benefit you because you may want to bring an issue
Your
to the
time has
agenda
expired, Kelvin.
and deny the majority of the council to decline about that item. Voting yes limits your rights as
Thank
an
you. Your
alderperson.
time has expired.
Why would you want to do that?
Casey Anthony. Casey Anthony.
Hello, I'm Casey Jacobs Anthony. I live at 1441 South Plum Avenue here in Freeport. And I'm here to speak on number 11 and number 20, but specifically with number 11 in relation to the 2-minute time limit on speaking for council members. Coming from being a representative formerly of the county board, it would be very difficult to be able to present information in 2 minutes to be able to get your point across. Now, I understand the need for efficiency that happens within the council, and each council member has an obligation to do their research, ask the questions, talk to the city manager to get everything clarified so that when they come here, they can present their findings, present their research, and express their opinion. You simply cannot do that in 2 minutes. Robert's Rules of Order, which governs and kind of guides these types of bodies on how to run an efficient and effective government, says it should be 10 minutes, not 2. So I ask that you reconsider that time limit within that particular piece of that ordinance. Moving on to number 20, with the censure. There have been many times over the past year that things have happened within this building during these meetings that would warrant behavior that would be considered something that you could call for censure for. Language, disrespect, so much so that people outside of this community talk about the lack of decorum that exists within these chairs. I'm just concerned that it's just being done now. When people have brought it up before, community members have come and asked for things to be done about the behavior that's occurred on this council. They were told that there's nothing that this council could do. And now it's apparent that they were aware that censure does exist and that it can be brought forth, but they're choosing to bring it up now, which then brings up the question, why now and why not against other certain members of the council that exhibited abhorrent behavior. So I ask that you just consider that when moving forward with this. If you're going to censure some members of this body, then you need to do it equally and across the board. Thank you.
Barbara Vines, if you don't have something on the agenda itself, then you have to wait till the end. And Rachel?
Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rachel Simmons. At this time, I'm speaking both dually as a citizen, excuse me, and a council member. So what I have to say applies to item 11 and item 20. I will first start with item 20 by saying you have nowhere on record of me saying that I had any intent to disrupt any meeting, and no actions of mine disrupted that meeting. So that's all I have on that. Now, as far as item 11, it's so ironic that we just declared Freedom Day against tyranny. Just did that at the beginning of this meeting. However, with the changes in this ordinance, alderpersons, the fine will be changed from a maximum of $100 to $250 if we speak more than 2 minutes or more than twice on any issue. All the authority that has been given to alderpersons in the city ordinance is now replaced with the wording of city council, and alderpersons has been crossed out. So alderpersons will no longer also serve as chair for committee of the whole meetings, as we have all taken turns doing that responsibility. In addition, this prevents alderpersons from placing items on the agenda without the consent of the majority of everyone. So if you have something that you want to bring that is an issue to your community, you cannot bring that unless we all agree to it. Why would we be so scared to have a discussion? You can vote no if you disagree. Voting concerning the approval of budgets no longer requires a majority vote of the alderpersons, the council, the people put in charge, the ones that are supposed to employ Mr. Boyer and the other department heads. We have no say-so. We have a small say-so in that now because that includes other votes, not just ours. The Social Justice Committee has been removed. There has been no rewording. It has just been removed. All of this has been noted under the premise of home rule. We can do this because we have home rule. I must express my concerns regarding these proposed changes. The shift in authority appears to be an abuse of power, effectively granting the mayor and city manager ultimate control over our city's governance. Alderpersons are intended to be the voice of the people, yet this ordinance will not only silence them, but also strip away any checks on the actions of the city manager and mayor. If approved, this will mean that the city manager will answer solely to the mayor, leaving the voices of the community unheard. It raises serious questions about the purpose of having alderpersons if their authority is diminished in such a significant way. It is truly disheartening to witness a council that seems more inclined to silencing dissenting opinions rather than engage in constructive dialogue. The ability to listen to opposing viewpoints and reach compromises is essential for the betterment of our city. I'm genuinely appalled at the thought of supporting an ordinance that would mute the input and diminish the
Thank you, Rachel.
authority
Your time has
of the
expired.
alderpersons in the representation of the people.
Larry? Larry, if you have something you want to say as general, you have to wait to the end. Okay. Okay, then that concludes public comments. We'll move on to item number 4, which is the consent agenda. I'm sorry. Is it an agenda item? Which one? Is removed. Yes. So that way we can read it and be ready. So if you'd like to speak on a topic on agenda items, which number? Which one? Okay. Okay.
My name is Wendy Pearson. I live at 1323 South Chicago Avenue here in Freeport, Illinois. As far as the agenda item number 11, our city council has, certain members of this city council have lost their minds. When you try to limit the voices of the people by way of their older person, the disrespect that flows through this council by certain council members, I would like to address as well. I will not shut up, and I will not leave. And the only time that I will shut up is when you and anybody else in this town can say that they're a national award winner. They're a presidential award winner. They've shut down drug houses. They've helped to bring the Boys and Girls Club back into futation. When anybody in this town can say those things to me, that's when I'll shut up. Disrespectful, cowardly, because the entire time I stood there, you were turning around, smiling and winking. And then you get up, after I get off, you wait till I'm walking out the door, and you tell me to shut up and to leave. It's pretty obvious that some of you are so silly and stupid in some ways that you don't have sense enough to turn the mics off when you're saying disrespectful things to people who have paid taxes in this town for over 20 years and 2 houses. We know your history. We know how you got in the seat that you sat in when you were the chief of police. The same crap that was going on then is going on now. You know for a fact, and we know for a fact, that the chief of police at that period of time should have been Mr. Lenore, your trainer, the person that trained you to do this job. So don't go there with us, because we're not going to shut up. We're not going to stop. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to fight for our rights to be able to speak up here for longer than 2 minutes, for our alderpersons to be able to speak more than 2 times without having a vote from each and every last one of you to tell them they can speak again. When they were elected into that seat, they were elected to represent those of us in the wards that put them there. And when some of them stood outside that door, you can believe that some of us were standing outside that door too. So if you think for a second that they don't have people that are respectful towards them and that is willing to fight, you got another thing coming. As far as 20 is concerned, you guys know it's a bunch of crap.
Move on to item number 4, which is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be routine in nature and acted as one motion unless there's a member of the council who would like to have something removed for further discussion. Seeing none, the consent agenda consists of approving to receive and place on file the board and commission minutes from the Police Pension Board, December 30th, 2024, January 29th, 2025, Historic Preservation Commission, May 21st, 2024, and April 15th, 2025. Fire Pension Board, January 29th, 2025. The Board of Fire and Police Commission, April 22nd, 2025. Also reports from the Police Department, Cash and Investment, and Finance Department for April 2025. The Greater Freeport Partnerships Monthly Report for May 2025. The resolution of 2025-57, which requests temporary closure for streets for the Teddy Baker Fest Parade dated July 13th, 2025. Approval of the finance bills payable in a total of $585.78, and payroll for pay period ending May 17th, 2025, in the total of $665,616.82. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Clem, seconded by Alderman Sellers. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
No.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-2.
Item number 7 is appointments. When you're caught up, can you read those?
Besta Jean Bush to the Housing Authority effective through October 31st, 2028, and Bobby Yount to the Housing Authority effective through October 31st, 2030.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Discussion on the appointments. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy. Alderperson Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The motion passes 8-0.
Item number 8 is the first reading of ordinance 2025-34. Could you please read this?
Ordinance amending Part 10, Streets, Utilities, and Public Services Code, Title 4, Utilities, Chapter 1046, Sewers Generally, Section 1046.10, Specific Local Discharge Limits of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Freeport.
Thank you. Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Every 4 years or so, the city news our national discharge permit. During the process, we do what's called a streamline calculations to determine what's allowed that industry can convey to the wastewater treatment plant. This is based on flow. It's based on the chemical or the constituents involved. This year, we're in the process of renewing our NPDES permit, and the city, the EPA requires that our local limits are reviewed by the city council and approved. We have some adjustments here, all well within the range of normal activity, and staff recommends a suspension of the rules and to approve the local limits, the new local limits.
Is there a motion to move this ordinance forward?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Sanders?
Yes. I have concern about the way that we're receiving any notification or information, documentations on the IEPA approval or recommendations when it comes to the water waste treatment plants and any other kind of Illinois statutes. What I'm having concerns with is that none of the material that is being brought up in these agendas does not give you full detail. I know we got it written in there, but it's limited, and it's only discretionary whenever important information from the IEPA it has already declared what the policies and statutes are, but I'm trying to find out, because of the fact that we're not sitting here reading what it is that is being handed down to us from the IEPA. That material has not made it to our council for discussion and to elaborate on what they're suggesting or recommendation that we as a city, municipality, should follow. And so since we do not have that, it's hard for us to make a good, sound, conscious decision on recommending or voting on any of the things that is being reported on the agenda. So if we're limited to the information that probably sits at the EPA, then we are ignorant to what's really going on with the city, not reporting certain details about what the EPA is really recommending and the statutes that we have to follow as a community. And so that's my concern, and that's what I wanted to bring up, is the fact that when these kinds of things come into play, that we are properly notified and that the community is in tune with what is the reason why we're making these conscious decisions about why we're voting for certain things that we're not certain about, simply because city managers, mayors, or whoever, public works or whatever, getting information that is not trickling down to the council nor to the general public. I just want things to be promptly notified and put on notice that the citizens of Freeport understands what it is that you do and that we do as a council, so they will be more educated into whatever is going on within their city. And I don't care what it is, we can't leave detailed information out because it could be very pertinent or very detrimental to the health of the people of the city of Freeport. I'm just conscious about that, and I just wanted to bring that out. And I understand what our public relations with our general public has a lot of concerns. Well, certain areas of what should be really important to us is not being addressed. And I feel that we need more disclosure. We need to bring it out more and elaborate it. And I'm looking for this to come from my city manager, my public directors, and people of that nature, firms, lawyers, or whoever the case is. Nothing is to be suppressed from the general public. And I feel that sometimes we're not being forthcoming. That's my take on that.
To reiterate what City Manager said, this is nothing to do with the EPA limits. This is our internal city limits of what we can accept for waste to our treatment plant. It's called a mass balance equation, and our lab technician and chief lab manager did these equations and got them approved by EPA prior to coming to council to revise our local limits. So we've had some industry changes. We've had some flow changes at the plant that are allowing us to accept more waste in certain categories to our system, which is sometimes helpful to the wastewater treatment plant as well. So these are just local changes, has nothing to do with changing our limits with EPA or outfall to the stream or anything. It's just internal waste that the city of Freeport can take in at the plant, giving our commercial accounts, our industrial accounts, a little bit less that they have to treat to at their place because our plant can handle it. And this is evaluated every 5 years and adjusted every 5 years. People that have been sitting here have seen us do this before.
Are there any other public comments? I'm sorry, any other comments from the council? Alderman Parker?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Suspension of the rules is non-debatable and must pass by 2/3 majority. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The suspension passes 8-0.
So now before you is the final passage for this ordinance. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
And the ordinance is adopted 8-0.
Item number 9 is the first reading of ordinance 2025-35. Could you please read this?
Ordinance authorizing the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency Public Water Supply Loan Program and loan agreement for well number 12 and Tire 4 projects, including construction project bid cost and all engineering costs.
Thank you. Manager Ware?
Thank you, Your Honor. As everyone here is quite aware, we've been working on well 12, which is the last piece to our renovation of our source water capacity. The city of Freeport recently had a bid opening for phase 4, or 4 phases of well 12 water improvement project. The EPA Public Water Loan Program requires a current city of Freeport authorizing a debt ordinance for the water project funding. This is part of every IEPA funding project, regardless of whether the community receives any forgiveness or not. The IEPA project management, as standard practice, is requesting a well 12 project authorizing debt ordinance to be passed for this 4-phased project. The IEPA requires this ordinance as part of the project. Every state revolving fund or SRF loan process. The staff is also asking for the suspension of the rules on this item tonight to expedite this to the EPA, as we currently have $13.2 million in outside grant and in outside funding for this project. The city requires this construction project to be completed in order to abandon our current Brick Street plant and an eventual demo of that plant, where the water facility will be permanently closed down due to the fact that it has perfluorinated compounds. This project is funded through the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency State Revolving Fund, and this would be based on user rates with current $13.2 million in forgivable loans and congressionally directed spending to the city. So staff recommends council pass the debt ordinance so the city can issue the loan. The total for the debt ordinance is $32 million, which is the total cost of the project is coming in about $28 million, and so this 32 is to create a small buffer in case there's some unexpected aspects related to construction. So staff asks council to move forward with this debt ordinance.
Is there a motion to move this ordinance forward?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Clem. Discussion on the ordinance. Alderman Parker?
No, just motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
A motion to suspend the rules made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Again, two-thirds majority and non-debatable. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll in the suspension?
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
No.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
Aye.
We do have two-thirds, 6-2.
So now before you is the final passage of this ordinance. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
No.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The ordinance passes 6-2.
Item number 10 is the first reading of ordinance 2025-36. Could you please read this?
Ordinance amending Chapter 1060, Waste and Recycling Collection and Disposal, Section 1060.04, regarding garbage fees.
Thank you. Director Richter.
Thank you, Your Honor. A little bit of background before I start into the memo. If you remember, last year we made an adjustment to the garbage rate. We actually kept it the same. We chose to not increase it, and so we had to change the ordinance last year. So this is building on to what happened last year. So the city's Health and Environment Fund accounts for the revenue and expenses related to garbage collection and recycling programs. The revenues from residents are deposited to the fund, and the expense for garbage pickup is paid to the hauler from this fund. As the fund is considered an enterprise fund, it is run like a business with fees coming in to cover expenses. City Ordinance 1060.04 details the amount charged to residents per month for garbage and recycling pickup. In 2024, City Council voted to suspend the annual increase to residents that would have taken effect on July 1st of last year, 2024, due to the fund accruing a positive balance. So this year, the fund has sufficient reserves to warrant adjustment to the rate schedule. The monthly rate charged to residents includes the hauler expense, bad debt expense, billing and collection services, and the Refresh Freeport expenses. So there's a chart on the memo of what I'm proposing to change the rates to. The rates, just a little bit more background, when the rates were established 5 years ago when we signed the new garbage rate agreement, all 10 years were put into ordinance. So last year, so what I have to do, last year since we held the line last year and did not change it, I would like to do similar and keep the rates a little bit lower than what's in the ordinance. And if you would like me to read them off, I mean, we're going to reduce the rate by $3 that would be in effect July 1st of 2025. We would reduce the rate $1.75 for 2026, $1.59 for 2027, and then $1.84 reduction from what the ordinance has. And so that will allow the fund balance to come down from where it is to a level of 3 months' expenses in reserve.
Thank you. Is there a motion to move this forward?
So move. I second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Discussion on the ordinance.
Yes.
Alderman Sanders?
Would that would that also make the improvements to the water increase? Has anything been modified as far as the water increase is concerned, or has it been addressed if we're going to do the same reduction rates with garbage and other utility rates? Are we doing the same thing with water?
Director Richter.
This only has to do with garbage rates.
Yeah, I understand that.
So
but-
no, I'm not proposing any changes with how the water structure is.
Okay, so can I ask, where did the water rates come from and who asserted it, imposed it? Who brought this water rate increase into our utility services, and who put this into play? I just want to know who authorized the increase of the.
Attorney Zito would like to say something.
Well, I'm talking.
Yeah, I know, but he wants to talk about what you're talking
He
about.
just can't be talking.
Well,
while
Alderman
I'm
Sanders,
talking.
because I need to get you on topic. The agenda
get on
item,
topic.
the agenda item's only about garbage rates, and you're asking about water rates. So the ordinance is just about lowering the garbage rates, and nothing to do with water. So that's the only reason why I'm kind of reminding you to stay on topic.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 11, which is the first reading of ordinance 2025-37. Could you please read this?
Ordinance amending Chapter 220, Council, Section 22010, Rules of Council, and Section 22011, Council Committees.
Thank you. Attorney Zito.
Thank you, Your Honor. So City of Freeport Code of Ordinance, Section 220.10 and 220.11 provide for various rules that govern how the City Council and its various committees meetings are conducted. These rules include, but are not limited to, how meetings are called, establishment of a quorum, procedures for placing items on agenda, frequency of speaking, decorum at meetings, and then penalties for violating any of these rules. The ordinance before the City Council for consideration proposes changes to Section 220.10 and 220.11 in an effort to increase efficiency at meetings, clarify ambiguities that exist in the existing language, and then set forth procedures for having items placed on the agenda. In pertinent part, the changes, or in key parts, the changes include that the mayor, the city manager, or a majority of the City Council can cancel a meeting, that the mayor, city manager, or majority of the City Council may call a special meeting of the City Council. 3, that quorum would be established based on a majority of the City Council. City Council is defined as the alderpersons plus the mayor. This section is being proposed to be amended also to provide for a $100 fine upon conviction of City Council members who are willfully absent without reasonable reason for such absence. This section also goes on to provide an example that purposely missing a meeting to try to obstruct the conduct of city business is not considered to be a reasonable reason for being absent. 4th, currently the rules provide that each member can speak twice on an agenda item, but that by unanimous vote of the council, a member can speak more than twice. This ordinance proposes to change the unanimous vote requirement to just a majority vote, so that it would be allowed that you don't, if you want to speak more than twice, that you no longer would need a unanimous vote of the council to speak an additional time. It would just be a majority vote to allow for that additional time. Finally, the proposed change to this section would limit each turn that a council member is allowed to speak to 2 minutes in time. However, the 2 minutes can be extended then by a majority vote of the council to allow for additional time to speak. Throughout the entirety of Section 220-10, where there are vote requirements specified, it's been clarified that a vote is to be determined based on the membership in the City Council, i.e. the alderpersons plus the mayor. Regarding decorum at meetings, a proposed change in this ordinance is that any person who's deemed to be out of order or violating the rules of council twice can be removed by the police chief or their designee. Regarding penalties for violating rules, this provides a $250 fine for any member who's convicted of violating the council rules. A new rule is being proposed to govern meeting agendas. Items can be added to the agenda by the mayor, city manager, or majority of the alderpersons. And then it also provides that items can be removed by the persons who requested that the item be placed on the agenda originally. Another new rule being proposed governs city council requests of city staff. This proposed change provides that members of the city council can make reasonable informational requests to city staff or contracted staff, but that all requests must be submitted to the city manager, and that if a request requires staff to compile information, that staff will be given at least 5 business days to compile the information. It further provides that the city manager has the right to extend this 5 business day time frame, taking into consideration items like workload, illness, or vacation of staff members. The ordinance also makes a change to Section 220-11 regarding the various committees of the city council to reflect that committee meetings can be called by the mayor, city manager, or majority of the city council. It further provides that the agenda items can be removed by the person who requested the items be placed on the agenda originally. And finally, Section 220-11 is amended to remove the provisions of the Social Justice Committee, as the committee was originally intended to be a temporary committee. There's no financial impact to the city budget related to these proposed ordinance changes. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance, and this ordinance is in line with the strategic plan based off responsive, efficient government.
Is there a motion to move this ordinance forward?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Clem. Discussion on the ordinance.
Yes.
Alderman Sellers.
Yes. Could I get a better understanding of number 8 that you just read, please? Please.
So section, you're talking about section 8 of the item, or number 8 of the ordinance?
Of the ordinance, please.
Regarding quorum, I'm sorry, or?
A new rule of council is being proposed to be added to govern, what?
Memo number 8.
Oh, memo
Yeah.
number 8,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That's okay.
To govern meeting agendas, items to be added to the agenda. Oh, so 210-29, got it. Hang on one second. Got it. So the proposed change would basically say that for agenda items, that agenda items for the city council meeting or any committee meetings can be added at the request of the mayor, the city manager, or majority of the alderpersons can add an agenda item to the agenda. Currently, right now, it provides agenda items can be added by any two alderpersons. So this would change it to a majority of the alderpersons to add an item to the agenda for any council meeting or committee meeting.
Alderman Sanders.
Yeah, what I'm listening to about item 8 is that our governing council aldermen are not the governing body of the city any longer when you start imposing yourself, injecting yourself into the government structure as the attorney or the mayor. You guys cannot just assume that we will go along with that part of the item simply because you want to impose that up on the city by your opinion and estimation that you have the right or want to have the right to assert yourself in the censorship of the governing body of the council. In other words, you were not elected to do these kinds of things for governing the city of Freeport. It was the aldermen, it's the district people. That is, the people of the city of Freeport are the ones who making these decisions, but it's not left up to the mayor, nor is it left up to the city manager or the attorney, Zito or Aaron, as you might call it, because that is not what this is stipulating. That you and when you bring it out like that, people don't have a full understanding of your motivational reasons for wanting to assert yourself into the government structure and policies of the city of Freeport. You weren't elected. The people of Freeport, the citizens, taxpayers are the ones who elected the aldermen to make these kinds of proposals and things of this nature. You're not the ones who are supposed to be able to do these kinds of things. And not only that, put it in writing and then try to camouflage it. You cannot do that. And I just hope my councilmen who are reading this can see right through what is happening. I know that's hard to do, but the point of the matter is we have to be, I don't want to go there, but anyway, we need to look at this with clear eyes and clear understanding and have a better conscious mind of who we're allowing to come in and just throw things around at their discretions or who wants to impose their viewpoints and opinions upon the council to make certain decisions for the citizens of Freeport. I think it's an injustice that you are doing these kinds of things and trying to blow it right through the council and impose an ordinance upon the citizens and the council, suppressing them from doing whatever it is that this ordinance is trying to annihilate them from doing. So my thing is, why are we even entertaining item 8? We shouldn't even be sitting here contemplating about something that is happening that has not happened yet. But it's almost as if people are asserting themselves into the government structure of the council as if though they have the right and the will to do so. And I'm totally against that, and I have great concerns that the citizens of Freeport would also look at that with another view lens to make sure that we are on board with all of the things that the citizens of the city of Freeport is describing to us when they make their complaints. So I just wanted to bring that out because I want this council to make a informed and educated decision when voting on things of this nature without have not scrutinized any of the things that are being imposed at this point in time, especially item 8. There's probably others in there, but the thing about it is we need to look at that with a stronger view lens.
Alderman Sellers?
I would just like to say with number 8, right now at this time, I know that I would have to say no right now because we have such a new council, even though, I've only, most of us only either two years or Linda just coming in, majority with, having, ideas and different things that we might think of at the last minute. I do understand some of the frustration that we get with too many things on the agenda, but I do think that not having a majority, but the two people being able to bring up ideas they might get, just learning the whole process and how things work. So that's what my point of view is right now.
Alderman Clem?
Sure. Attorney Zito, would you politely tell us when the city voted in a city manager, just exactly how city government works now? Who's in charge of who does what, whose job is what, so on and so.
So at a very high level,
yeah.
so obviously with the city manager form of government, the city council is a legislative body. There you guys make the legislative decisions, you guys make policy decisions. So like you guys adopt ordinances, you guys choose, just like this ordinance is being brought before you to either vote yes or no on, or to vote to make changes to this draft ordinance. That is the council's role now in the city manager form of government. The city manager's role then is to carry out the day-to-day operations of the city. The city manager is in charge of, dealing with all the employees, making all the hirings and firings and disciplines of all the employees, and making recommendations to the city council as to how best to accomplish the goals, the policy goals that the council then sets as the legislative body. So you guys say, for example, I want you to go left, get me to left, whatever that is, then it's up to the city manager's discretion on how he chooses or she chooses to get you left there. So the day-to-day isn't the purview of the council. It's just that you guys would set the overarching policy there. Does that kind of at a high level without getting too far off topic?
Thank you.
Alderman Simmons?
Thank you. So I will just say this. I definitely look forward to further discussions on how we can uphold the integrity of our council and better serve our community without tying the hands of our elected officials. And with that being said, I would like to make a motion to table this indefinitely.
Is there a second? Motion fails for a lack of a second.
Did you ask who?
I asked, was there a second, and no one said anything.
Who
I've-
heard you
Second.
with the clapping?
You've been raising
Yeah,
your hand
but-
for,
But my thing is, I couldn't speak over everyone that's clapping.
okay, she made a motion to table indefinitely. Is there a second?
Yes, I
I
second.
said second.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Alderman
Cecilia
Simmons, seconded
seconded,
by
yeah.
Alderman Sanders
Cecilia.
to table this indefinitely. Do we have discussion on that? Yes. Discussion? Alderman Sellers.
So when you say just table it indefinitely, you don't want to talk about it anymore? We can talk about to just try to,
No, it means it's done.
oh, okay.
I mean, go by what we already have on ordinance.
Well, if there's no further discussion, we'll take the vote on tabling indefinitely.
Clem,
No.
Johnson,
No.
Simmons,
Aye.
Parker,
No.
Stacy,
Aye.
Shadle,
No.
Sanders,
Aye.
Sellers.
I say no.
One, 2, 3 in favor of tabling. It has failed.
Of course it would.
And so next, if there's no further discussion, Alderman Johnson, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just on number 8, I would like to see it amended to say that it can go back to the 2 alderpersons. But with that also, with whatever's put on for discussion, I would like to see a memorandum put on by those that put something up for discussion, so as to the purpose of what we're discussing and why we're discussing it.
Was that a motion or just a discussion point?
That's a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Alderman Johnson to amend Section 13, item number 29, to remove the word majority and add the word two alderpersons. And accompanying the agenda item must also be a memo.
Right.
Second.
Second?
Discuss it.
Second.
So we have a motion made by Johnson, seconded by Sellers. Discussion on that portion of the amendment. Alderman Simmons.
I just have a question for Attorney Zito. So once these amendments are made, it'll come back to council? We're voting on sending it back to be amended to then come back for a vote, correct?
So if this proposed amendment passes, then because there was a motion to move it forward for second reading there in between now and second reading, I'll make that amendment because if the amendment passes right now. Right, so then it'll come back to you guys for second reading as amended.
So why not come back as first a reading as amended? You're amending it.
Because if you guys would, or if the motion to amend passes right now, then it's passed. And then you would, the ordinance as a whole, as amended, then would still move forward for second reading.
So the vote now would be just on the amendment.
Right.
Motion.
However, it would still move this ordinance to
Not yet.
second reading.
Right, it's already been moved to
Yeah,
second
right,
reading.
it already has by Alderman Shadle and Clem.
Right. So they moved it forward, and now Alderman Johnson's proposing to make an amendment to it. And so if the amendment passes, then it would move forward with as amended.
Do you have a question on the amendment?
Yeah, I have a question about the whole proposition, but it's still part of the subject. And my question is, who brought this to the council? I need someone to declare this particular ordinance or this particular adoption, or who proposed it, who brought it to the council for us to even be sitting here to even contemplate voting on this thing, and not only that, having amendments done with it. Who brought this to us?
Okay, so
In
what's
order for us
before
to
you?
do so, and I'd like to know who authorized it to make that proposal made known unto the council.
Let's
That's-
stay on track.
Yeah, I know.
This amendment is what we're talking about. That has nothing to do with the amendment. So do you understand what the amendment is that's
Yeah, I
before
know
us?
what the
Okay,
amendment means.
all right.
Yeah, I just wanted to know who brought this whole apparatus.
That has nothing to do with the amendment.
Yeah, I know, but my point is out of
Is there any other further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the amendment only?
Well, don't do that yet.
Did you have another question?
I have another motion.
Well, if you have a different motion, like, do you want to amend her motion, or is it a completely different motion?
Completely different motion.
Okay, so then we have to finish this motion, and then you can make another motion.
I thought any motion took over the motion in order.
It depends on the hierarchy of a ladder there. So we're in the pending motion right now. You can amend this motion, that's fine. But if you're making a completely separate motion that has nothing to do with the motion that Alderman Johnson made, like you don't want to tweak her motion or postpone indefinitely her motion or whatever it is, then you have to wait. We have to address this motion first.
Okay, well, I'll tweak her motion. I'll tweak her motion to have the proposed changes put in there, and then it be brought back to the Cal for discussion before our second reading.
So
It is.
So it's not that. So basically, she made a motion to make that particular change to 2 aldermen plus a memo, right? You're asking to lay that motion over right now for further discussion to another meeting.
I'm asking, once those changes are made, it is brought to the Cal for discussion.
Oh, it will be once.
You're saying we go right in the second reading, which will put it on our next regular meeting to be then voted on to pass.
Correct. So if this motion passes, then you can make a motion to refer it back to Cal. Then, if you want to talk about it
Let's
more.
deal with just the amended motion first. It has, a cow discussion has nothing to do with the amendment.
But it would if the amendments are what I'm asking to be discussed at.
So the amendment, though, right now, if you're going to amend her motion, it would be to amend like the verbiage of her motion. You want to send her motion for further, as presented, if it's approved, for further discussion. But at that point, you already voted on it. Right now, you'd be voting to say, yes, we agree with the language that she's proposing. So if you want to talk about the proposed language more, then you would just motion to table this to the next Cal to discuss Alderman Johnson's language more before you even vote on it.
That will work, because then we can ask for amendments as well.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to make a motion, it would be improper to lay her amendment motion. You can make a motion to lay it over to the next Cal. That would be a proper motion.
If that's how we have to go about it, that's what I would like to do.
So you only want the amendment on the cow? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, because
That's
there
it.
may be other amendments. that we
Along with
want
the
to add.
entire thing?
Yep. There may be other amendments we want to add in addition to hers. Dealing
Yeah,
with
but
the
if
verbiage of her.
don't we have to vote on the amendment in order to move that forward?
No. So Alderman Johnson's made a motion to make an amendment. That can be tabled for further discussion. That can be tabled to another meeting or laid over to another meeting for further discussion, to not have to vote on the proposed amendment tonight, to take it to hypothetically a cow to have further discussion on it. On just the amendment. Correct.
Just the amendment?
Yep, that's a proper order. That would be a motion that could be allowed.
Okay, so
But that motion that motion to lay the
amendment
over for further discussion needs a second, and it needs to be approved by the council.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Alderman Simmons to lay the amendment of Alderman Johnson's to the cow. Is there a second to that?
I second it.
We have a second by Alderman Sanders. So before you, council, is just this piece of it, of the amendment moving to the cow. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem?
Yes.
Johnson?
No.
Simmons?
Yes.
No.
Parker? Stacy?
Yes.
Shadle?
No.
Sanders?
Yes.
Sellers?
Yes.
The motion passes 5-3.
Okay, so just for clarity, the only thing that is on the committee of the whole next week is this amendment that was just made. And the second reading for the entire ordinance is on for the 16th.
Correct.
Okay, so let's move on to item number 12, which is the first reading of ordinance 2025-38. Could you please read this?
Ordinance approving hangar leases. We have K10 with Lynn Peace and M10 with Timothy Graydon.
Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, we're wrapping up with the final new leases. So we've received K10 and M10. Staff is requesting a suspension of the rules and approval of this ordinance.
Is there a motion to move this ordinance forward?
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Clem to move this ordinance forward. Any discussion on the ordinance?
A request for suspension of the rules?
So move.
I have a motion made by Alderman Clem, seconded by Alderman Sellers for suspension of the rules. And suspension is non-debatable and must pass by 2/3. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll on the suspension?
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy. Alderperson Stacy, are you still with us?
Hello.
How do you vote on the suspension of rules for the hangar leases? I'll come back to you. Shadle?
Aye.
Sanders is absent, and Sellers?
Aye.
Alderperson Stacy, do you have a vote?
Can you tell me what we are voting on? For whatever reason, the phone went dead and I had to call back in.
We have 2 hangar leases. And Mayor Miller, I apologize, I missed the motion in the second. Is that also Clem and Sellers?
Yes.
Yes.
And then we had suspension of the rules, motion made by Clem and Sellers. What say you?
Aye.
Thank you. The suspension passes 7-0. I don't ever count the absent.
Okay. All right, so now before you, council, is the final passage of this ordinance on the hangar leases. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Simmons?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Shadle?
Aye.
And Sellers?
Aye.
And the ordinance passes 7-0.
Item number 13 is the adoption of Resolution 2025-58. Could you please read this?
Resolution approving ADA transition plan. The word plan should have been in there. My apologies.
Thank you. Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. The federal and state governments have brought significantly more focus to the ADA access and mobility challenges for residents in populated communities. The Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, notified the city staff in the fall of 23 that a citywide ADA assessment, grievance policy, and transition plan is required for all local public authorities, with more than 50 employees in the state of Illinois. This ADA transition plan will be collaborative with future motor fuel tax funding, along with ADA intersection ramp upgrades that are required as part of all street project construction. ADA assessments were completed by the licensed engineer knowledgeable in ADA compliance codes and PROAG requirements. Final assessment and planning documents are created to be transparent to all residents and shall be kept as a living document on the city website with annual updates as construction work is completed. The City of Freeport ADA assessment and transition plan studies have been completed in a draft form for council approval. A mandatory public hearing was held on May 30th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Comments from the meeting were summarized. At this time, we are requesting City Council adopt this ADA assessment and transition plan so we may move forward with selecting a grievance and advisory committee. Once the plan is adopted, staff will also file the plan with IDOT as part of our MFT funding requirements, and the city receives $1.1 million in MFT from IDOT annually. At this time, there's no financial aspect to be concerned about, except how the adoption of this plan will require a budget item in 2026 for potential ADA grievance construction and repairs. Other street ADA ramp replacements will be addressed one by one as street reconstructions are taking place on the annual street program per federal and state funding requirements. And staff requests approval of this plan.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Clem, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Discussion? Darren?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know I left a complete plan. It's about 300 pages on each of your desks. It's also linked to the city's website, so anybody can view it. As part of the process, the living document that we talked about is hyperlinked to the city's homepage. Anybody can view it. It's under the resources tab. Every ramp in town was inventoried. There's red dots, green dots, yellow dots. They're all in significant importance. You can click on them. It'll give you a complete inventory of every ramp, 20 parameters that we calculated on each one. So it was very complete. Just a quick summary. I believe we have about 75% of our ADA ramps right now are not compliant, which we knew. And over a 25-year plan of replacements, based on the IDOT standard process, they're probably going to be close to $38 million in replacements that have to be done as we do our roadways. The biggest part of this plan, or the most important, I think, because we all know that we have to replace the ramps and bring them up to standards, is that we're creating a committee that will be a grievance policy, so people can go to the website. There'll be a grievance form placed after it's adopted. Anybody can make a grievance. Those grievances will go to the committee for evaluation and recommendation to the council for repair. And since this is like a mid-year approval, the budget would not take place until the next fiscal budget cycle.
Thank you. Alderman Sanders.
Yeah, based on what your report is, do that include residents when improving the sidewalk? Well, the ADA ramps cannot be conformed unless there's adjacent sidewalks, am I correct? And do we have a plan to address those issues within the community itself?
So that's kind of in the plan, Alderman Sanders. The city owns the ADA ramp corners. The property owners, due to our ordinances, actually own the sidewalks.
Okay.
So instead of us, if we redo a complete reconstruction of an area, we would try to attempt right away to right away doing new sidewalks. It's almost cost prohibitive at this time to be able to do that because we have so many streets to do. But we do, and it's talked about in the plan, we have a sidewalk program annually that residents can apply for. And there's a rate that's established every year and so much dollar that's put there that anybody can apply for. And it goes through Public Works. And once we reserve so much in the budget, and once that's spent for the year, then the person can go in the next year's line. And that's what we offer up for sidewalk replacements for homeowners.
Okay. Are we I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Are we promoting the opportunities to homeowners where they're able to sign up for additional improvements within their residency? So
We've had lots of people that have taken advantage of it. The key is they have to build the sidewalk to ProAg standards in order to receive the reimbursement, which is our code. So if they attempt to not bring their sidewalk up to city code or ProAg standards, then they don't get any reimbursement.
So that means that what department area consult with you about it? Or at your
Public
your
Works
department?
helps with them, yep. Between myself and the street superintendent and the ladies down in Public Work, we manage the program, we inspect the program.
Okay.
And we do it on a case-by-case basis. If they apply, we meet with them, discuss the regulations to do it, and give them actually specs that they have to live to, and then we inspect it before they pour it, after they pour it, and then we authorize the money reimbursement.
Okay, thanks.
Is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted, 8-0.
Item number 14 is the adoption of Resolution 2025-59. Could you please read this?
Resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Transportation, or IDOT, regarding street maintenance.
Thank you. Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city of Freeport has a 10-year maintenance agreement with IDOT corridors to maintain West Street, South Street, Galena in terms of painting and some minor maintenance. The city's paid annually for street service provided by our staff on Galena, Southwest, and Clark, Douglas. and Route 75. The current contract expires June 30th. IDOT has presented Freeport with a new maintenance contract from June 2025 to June 30th, 2035. This 10-year agreement is for $1,040,219.80. The fiscal year 2026 payment will be $86,675.47 with a factored adjustment for inflation annually moving forward. Large project work will still be part of the IDOT responsibility to undertake and complete. And I just want to mention this was brought up at the last meeting that our staff had with District 2. We requested some more information and clarification on this maintenance agreement because essentially this money primarily just pays for the cost of paint, restriping, and some minor pothole repairs. So what we came away from that meeting with is there is anything significant or anything more than just some normal pothole patching and paint work, they would be willing to take care of the cost of the construction of any major projects where that wasn't exactly the circumstance before. So I call that somewhat of a success in terms of being able to negotiate a little bit more from IDOT on the IDOT right-of-ways. So staff recommends moving forward with this agreement with IDOT.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
A second.
Motion made by Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Discussion on the resolution. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers. Oh, yes. That resolution is adopted, 8-0. Thank you, 7-0.
Item number 15 is adoption of Resolution 2025-60. Could you please read this?
Resolution approving a proposal from Next Level for Strategic Vision and Goals Services.
Thank you. Manager Boyer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Since 2017, the City of Freeport has used Eric Dregney at Next Level to facilitate our strategic planning efforts. Eric has successfully guided the city through 4 previous strategic plans. That's 2017, 19, 21, and 23. Aligning the city projects and operations to drive Freeport forward. Next Level's ongoing partnership with Stevenson County and the Greater Freeport Partnership complement the city's planning process by bringing valuable regional perspectives and creating an being informed enough to enhance the planning of all levels. So the strategic planning has been a cornerstone of Freeport's progress over the last 8 years, providing clear direction, fostering internal and external alignment, and enabling proactive long-term planning. The financial impact in the past has been below $10,000, and in the past had been signed by the city manager. This year, it's coming up a little bit above that, and the proposed contract amount is $11,750. This covers facilitation, planning, document development, presentation, including travel and materials. So the payment terms are 50% due on signing and 50% upon completion, as outlined in the attached agreement. Funding for this project is budgeted in the 2025 budget, and staff recommends approving the resolution, enter into the agreement with Eric Dregney at Next Level.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion made by Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Parker. Discussion on the resolution. Alderman Sanders?
Yeah, who is Next Level?
It is Eric Dregney, and if you'll recall, when we got together for the strategic planning at the library 2 years ago, he is the one that facilitated that.
And he wants to do it again?
Well, as part of strategic planning, you do it every 2 years to refresh the plan. Yeah.
Okay. And if that is so, nothing in literature, magazine proposals or whatever, that talks about the actual degree of the planning, details of the planning, that before we go to his sessions or attend his meetings or whatever the case is, we should be kind of briefed. We should have a briefing of all of this before we make a decision whether.
Yeah,
we
he's gonna call each one of it. That'll be a part of the system of how that works. Okay. So you'll be able to give your input prior to.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like to be abreast to some of the things that is coming down the pipe that I can focus on a little bit and look into the
Everyone will
details.
have the opportunity.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, you know. Okay? All right, thanks.
Any other, Alderman Simmons?
So my question is, Darren, you can answer this too. This strategic plan, once we write it out and it's all ready to go, has that ever been used in any grant writing processes or anything? Like, has it ever been required?
Well, it is always helpful to have a strategic plan in place. That is sort of one of those prerequisites as you move forward when you're dealing with other government agencies or grant writers or grant providers. But I will say it also directs staff in terms of committing the resources, the human resources to pursue grants for the city. So through our last several strategic plans, one of the things that's come through was in terms of funding for Well 12. That was in our last strategic plan, and that's what we're accomplishing as we go forward with construction. But I don't know if that completely answered your question, but did it get close?
No, I'm asking, any grants that we've received, have we ever been required to share this strategic plan?
I will have to check on that because I don't know offhand. There's a lot of grants out here. Oh, wait, maybe Michelle has the answer. Go ahead.
I do have an answer. Our bond people, similar to grants, in order to be issued a bond, it's just like going to the bank and seeing if you have the collateral or you have it requires strategic plans. It requires looking and making sure you're financially stable. And strategic plans add to our rating with Standard & Poor's.
So you have had to
Any other, Alderman Sanders?
I have to show it.
Can I get in there again? Yeah, with this strategic planning, it involves a large scope. Good to see you, Mr. Duckman. I haven't seen you in a while. But anyway, it requires that we have a plan before we ever start the processing of bonding and loans and things of this nature, grants and whatever the case may be. We should be, just like I said before earlier, that we should be brought into the matters more in details of what is being offered. First of all, I'm looking at strategic planning, but I have not seen where the results of these plans are going to benefit the city. And so it's good to have someone to strategize with the city, but are we getting results? And are they, and if it's free to the city of Freeport, then I understand. If the city does not have to cough up a budget to have this put in place or to be considered on the city's behalf to even work with this agency or whatever, we should know more about what it is that we're buying before we are engaging ourselves. I don't want us to, we don't know what the last two results were from the last strategic planning when this agency came into place. We never got the results of it and what the achievement was and what the objectives and goals were. We have not received that, so we don't know whether or not we're walking into another blind faith based upon what is proposed by this strategic planning. And if we are not knowledgeable about what is going on and how do we achieve our goals, then I find this whole process with this next level of strategic planning irrelevant if we can't get results from it from the first time. I have not heard anyone in the council talk about we have made great strides, great progress from the last time that this agency was in place. So I would like to be updated on what have we accomplished. You know, have we made any strides? Have we made any progress with using this particular strategic type setup planning? Because if the councils are not part of the full scope of the planning and understanding what is going on within that, then it's irrelevant to us because we're going to get the same outcome that we got before if we have gotten anything, because I don't recall any paper memorandum or anything that demonstrates to the council that we have that before us. And if we don't, if we have it, then I would like for us to disclose it so we'll know what that was and how the outcome of that planning came about. So that would be part of my concern. I don't find us indulging ourselves into something that we can't see results in. If we're not getting results, then it's a waste of our time.
Every single memo that you receive is attached to every single item on the agenda, and every single time it talks about the alignment with the strategic plan. Manager Boyer, did you want to add to that?
Nope.
Darren?
I just wanted you guys to know that we meet with City Manager Boyer quarterly, and we use the strategic planning document as our guidance to make sure that we're moving forward. He holds us all accountable, and so we do use that document regularly. And I was going to say the same as the mayor. Every memo that Public Works does has the strategic plan item that's located that we're filling those roles. You should remember the strategic plan is also stretch goals. We're not made to make every one of them. It's to make sure that we're progressing and moving forward. So some of those goals are fairly lofty, but they are our goals to get completed. So that is what guides us every day and the roles that we serve.
Is there any other discussion on this resolution?
I have something to say.
Alderman Stacy?
Yes. I don't know why we would pay someone that kind of money to do something that I really feel that you, Mayor Miller, should be able to do. And if we have $12,000 to put out there on this, let's put it to use for the people. There's lighting, more lighting needed. Other aldermen have spoke about other areas where they need lighting. Let's put this money to some real use where it's needed for our community.
Any other public comment? Or I'm sorry, why do I keep going back to the public? Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the adoption of this agreement?
Clem?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Simmons?
No.
Parker?
Aye.
Stacy?
No.
Shadle?
Aye.
Sanders?
No.
Sellers?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 5-3.
Item number 16 is the adoption of Resolution 2025-62. Could you please read this?
Resolution supporting and committing to the 10 shared principles of community policing.
Thank you, Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Freeport Police Department has long embraced core values that promote respect, dignity, and fair treatment. The 10 shared principles of policing, developed by the Illinois State NAACP and the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, provide a framework that aligns with our department's commitment to transparency, equity, and community engagement. This resolution formally adopts the 10 shared principles, which include valuing all human life, rejecting discrimination, endorsing procedural justice, supporting de-escalation training. Adoption of these principles reflect practices already in place in Freeport and strengthens our commitment to community partnerships, mutual understanding, and public safety. This action underscores the city's dedication to justice and fairness for all residents, particularly in building trust with communities of color. There is no financial impact with this resolution, and staff recommends moving forward with this resolution.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
A motion made by Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Sellers. Discussion on the resolution? Alderman Johnson.
I just wanted to address number 8, 10 shared principles. It says, we believe that the law enforcement and community leaders have a mutual responsibility to encourage all citizens to gain a better understanding and knowledge of the law, to assist them in their interactions with law enforcement officers. And this is just a positive thing. The police do offer Citizens Police Academy, and it's very informative. I would encourage anyone in the city to take that course that they offer. You learn a whole lot that you don't know that happens behind the scenes, and all the amount of work that they have to do, like with just one arrest. It's just amazing. And you get to work in the 911 center or get to observe what happens there. It's just very educational. And I know that they're also doing Junior Police Academy. Is that right, Chief Chenberger? And when is that, the junior?
The exact dates, it starts at the end of June, and it goes for, I believe, 2 weeks, but it's only 2 days a week. So, yeah, our school resource officer, he's the one that's organizing that and having that this summer when school's out.
So I'm just thankful. That's a positive thing. So thank you.
Any other, yeah, Chief?
Yeah, just to reiterate what was said earlier by Mr. Odendahl, the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police affirmed the 10 shared principles with the NAACP in Illinois on March 22nd, 2018. And this was something that was also brought before the council in the past under Chief Summers and had been, it was a resolution for that then. And it's something we're very aware of, just core values of how we should work and operate. And it's something that I will, since we're so new, refresh our personnel with, let them know of the 10 principles. And I know they speak on it at the police academy too.
Thank you. Alderman Sanders?
Yeah, Chief. How engaged is from your perspective, how engaged is the community on the resolve of all of the things that are going on within the police department and what the connection is with the community, with the police department, and their involvement and understanding specifically what you guys are doing and how you're enhancing the community and what is taking place, that they can take notice that what you're doing is visual or implemented or promoted. I mean, from a, because everybody does not have that access to information of what your department does. And we want to know for sure whether or not it's benefiting the community itself at large. And if it is, then we need to see your promotion of it to let us know that, hey, this is how we're doing things. People are aware of what you're doing and can be consciously involved in what you're doing and being part of what you're doing, because you are setting a standard here in this city, and that we are supposed to be responsible citizens and allow you guys to do the responsible things. And so I think people might have complaints or worries or concerns if they're not hearing from their police chief or their police department in regards to how we're promoting the city at large. That's basically, I'm just stating something that that most people might want to be talking about.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
All right, thanks.
So it's nothing to be alarmed. It's just something to bring awareness to, that kind of thing. So.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Simmons is absent. Parker?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Shadle?
Aye.
Sanders?
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 7-0.
Item number 17 is the adoption of Resolution 2025-63. Could you please read this?
Resolution designating an honorary street name of Allison Way to the 800 block of Float Avenue.
Thank you. Director Druckman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The city's honorary street program allows residents the opportunity to honor those leaders that are steadfast in their endeavors, making significant contributions to the city. Once approved, this sign will be displayed at the requested block, commemorating that leader's dedication and hard work in the city of Freeport. The petitioner in this case is requesting the 600 block of South Float to be designated as an honorary street titled Allison Way. So I'll show here, just a second. As you can see, we have actually requests for two signs. One will be at Float and Shawnee, and the other would be at Float and Wyandotte. There's two arrows there showing the locations of the honorary street sign. So the Allisons, for whom this sign would be so named, have been longtime residents of Freeport, have lived in their homes, lived at their home on South Float for over 40 years. Reverend Nathan Allison has served the community for over 25 years as a pastor of the Philippians Baptist Church. They are celebrated for their work with the youth ministry, holding many different groups at their church. Mrs. Gloria Allison is a familiar face, assisting and volunteering her time at the Freeport Food Pantry. Although the Allisons are maturing, they still have a zeal for ministry and reach out to the community, guiding youth in the area. The Allison service within the Ministers Alliance and Baptist Ministry has been useful in bringing resources from Rockford to Freeport, as well as making their good deeds well known both in and outside of Freeport. And with that being said, staff is recommending the passage of this resolution.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
A motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Discussion on the resolution? Alderman Shadle.
Just a matter of clarification, did you say 600? The notations here say 800 block.
If I said 600, it was, I didn't mean to. It is the 800 block.
800 block. Thank you.
Alderman Sanders?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, in this discussion of the Allison Way, what's our policy for bringing these kinds of activities or this kind of display within the city of Freeport when special? Is it a special kind of
Yes, there's a process.
It's a process.
Yes, there's a
Special
process.
kind of process that that the city, because we're talking about many people that might want to make that kind of proposition or proposal to the city to allow them that kind of right of way. And I'm just curious of how that is brought into play, because I don't want us to look like we are being sentimental toward others and not for anybody else in this city having the opportunity to do the very same thing. So what we're saying is everyone in the city has the opportunity, but they have to be declared by what body and what population. How does that take place? Because is there a petition that took place that wanted that to be a consideration, or how do we administer that?
So it truly is the will of the people. 50% of the people on that street have to sign a petition,
Okay.
and then it is brought to my department, and then I put it forward to you. So
Okay.
if you feel it's in the best interest of the people, then I would suggest voting for it. And if not, I'd understand, that's obviously your duty to make that decision as well.
Yeah, okay.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 8-0.
Item number 18 is the adoption of Resolution 2025-64. Could you please read this?
Resolution approving redevelopment agreement with Sandra L. Smith, the developer for Culver's parking lot expansion.
Thank you, Director Duckman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to start right here with a map view of what we got going on here. If you're looking, this is what would be called a site plan. What you have on the south portion here is the existing Culver's. Getting to my pointer out right now so I can kind of show what's going on. Any of your Culver fans out there, I hope you're excited, because I know the parking over there is and drive-through is tricky. So I hope you're excited to know that this existing parking lot will now be expanded to the north. So this is all going to be a new parking area, new drive-through area. If you remember now, you're coming in here and you're making this tight turn. You're now going to have a new entrance up here to the north. That's going to be coming up here, and then you can come and have a nice, easier driveway access. I mean, if anybody's been here, they know that there are some traffic concerns here. Just for everyone's knowledge, right now this is being estimated $350,000 in site improvements. And I've been in the industry myself. I can tell you that the price of this probably will go up, but that's what's being estimated right now. So that being said, what we have here is a redevelopment agreement being proposed, and what's being proposed is that these site improvements, totaling $350,000, the city of Freeport, once these are completed, what's being proposed is that the city of Freeport would pay $10,000 upon completion of these site improvements. These developments are also within our TIF district, and what's also being proposed is that as the taxes are increased, which is our typical redevelopment agreement, the developer would receive 75% of the increased tax revenue for this parcel. So that's so essentially that's what their compensation would be for this redevelopment agreement to improve this lot, which, if you know now, this is completely vacant. There's nothing going on right here right now. So this is in line with our budget. Currently, the Meadows TIF District has budgeted a little more than $215,000 for projects just like this to work with developers, bringing large-scale developments into our city. That being said, staff is recommending approval of this resolution.
How many years is the increment being paid back at 75%?
It would be the lifetime of this Meadows TIF District, which would end in 2037.
Okay.
So 12 years.
Pardon me?
12 years.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman
Hold it.
Parker? Alderman Parker?
Yeah. Turn the lights off.
Discussion, Alderman Sanders?
Yeah, entry. Put your little pointer up there again and show me the current entry point of this parking lot. Just point right at the entry. That's the entry.
I believe that's it. My eyes are squinting a little bit, so I know you come
My
in.
concern is the entry and exit.
Okay.
To put this thing into development, is that the same entryway? Is that the same as the exit way? Because it's going to become very, very congestive. Matter of fact, I can see a problem developing before it even starts. Have we did an assessment, total assessment for traffic in and out of this area?
Yes. Kimley Horn's an international civil engineering firm. I've worked with.
I can't see none of that.
Okay, well, I'll explain it to you. Kimley Horn's international or national company. I've worked with them for years, and this developer spent a large amount of money to have this designed, and Kimley Horn wouldn't stamp these set of plans if they didn't know that this project has ingress and egress. They're a tremendous company, a high-end firm that does great work. So I stand behind I stand behind their work and this site plan.
Well, we haven't seen this particular project in this city, and for us to look at the diagram of this and see where the entry is there 2 entry points of this? Is that
Yes.
how we're looking at this?
Yes, they're not going to change. They're not going to change their existing. They're adding. This is an addition. So this is all going to.
So it relieves the traffic.
Yes.
It helps to relieve the bombardment of congestion.
Yes, and
of
that
this
is
area.
essential. That is 100% why the developers are investing this money, is to allow more people to come, more people to get in and out of the restaurant and buy more food.
Okay, that was my concern.
Sure.
I'm looking at it's congested at the entry point and the exit point currently at this time, and I can't see much. If there's more traffic trying to get in, then it's hard for them to get out. That's my.
I get it. I mean, but think about it. Have you ever been there? I mean, look, you got to come in
yeah,
and then you
I
got to
have
go.
been there.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, I'm being honest. Look how much longer they can stretch that line out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you're now they're gonna put the board here. Now you can get all the people backed up going through here. Whereas now, you know what it's like. You got to come through here and you got to make that turn.
Oh yeah, I know what you're.
You know what I mean? You got to make this turn through here, and they're basically allowing people to, go all the way back through here. They're straight, they're giving more room for their line.
Show me how they are exiting.
And then they would go through their typical, the same exit. They would be
Point to it.
same exit, which I believe is out this, right in here. Yep.
So that'll be the exit.
Okay, any
I have
further
a
discussion
question.
on this redevelopment agreement?
No.
Alderman Stacy?
Yes, I would like to know where would this $10,000 come from?
Sure, it's budgeted. We have $215,000 budgeted for redevelopment agreements in 2025, right out of the TIF district.
And I know this is a $350,000 project. How is the TIF money going to factor in this event?
Well, that's what's paying for that's the $10,000. It's paying for the $10,000, and then over the life of the TIF district, they're going to pay the increase in taxes for this parcel, which is now a grass field. And once these improvements are made, staff reached out to our tax assessor, and they, they agreed that these improvements would increase the taxes over time. So as the years go by until 2037, in addition to the $10,000, they would also be receiving the increase in property taxes, up 75% of that.
75%.
75% of that.
I really think they are in over their heads, and I think if we commit to something like this, that we're in over our heads.
Any other discussion? Alderman Johnson?
Well, I know I was there on Sunday. We had a huge ball tournament here at Reed Park, and it was after church, and there was all kinds of people flooding in there, and I could just see accidents waiting to happen the way that it is now. So I really think they definitely need this improvement in their structure that they have right now.
Alderman Clem, did you have something?
This call will be recorded. This call is no longer being recorded.
Alderman Clem?
Sorry, go ahead now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I had the pleasure of talking with Bob Smith this week about this, and Culver's is a great restaurant and does great business, and it's really an asset to the city of Freeport. One of the largest things this will do, if you really stop and think about it, is it'll help change employee parking. This should have been done in day one when the building was built. If you know, if you've been around a while, parking on that street in the wintertime becomes a great hazard because we had to eliminate parking on one side so we could plow it and stuff. But it would completely be an asset to the whole situation the way it is, and I highly recommend it.
Alderman Shadle?
Yes, I had talked with Bob Smith as well, and this has been needed for some time. The line stretches out onto Dirk Drive numerous occasions. There's not much going on in that area to the north and east from there now. I would hope in time that would change, and this is going to eliminate traffic problems coming in the future, possible accidents as we speak. And it's very proactive on their part to be taking care of it. Appreciate it.
Alderman Parker?
I totally agree with what Alderman Clem and Shadle said. I was up there and looked at it, and I think it's long overdue, and I think it's a great project. Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
No.
Shadle.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 6 to 1.
Item number 19 is the adoption of Resolution 2025-65. Could you please read this?
Resolution approving the city to accept the conveyance of 5 properties commonly known as Charles Avenue, lots 12 and 13, block 7, South Mary Avenue, lot 12, block 5, 931 East Jackson, and 1108 East Stevenson Street, from Stevenson County, Illinois.
Thank you. Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stevenson County has passed a resolution authorizing the transfer of these 5 parcels. These are all on the east side and fall within our flood mitigation grant area, and the county has approached the city about us taking these parcels on, and that would be, it is affirmative that we would like to have these for our flood mitigation grant. So the properties identified for transfer are, as I mentioned, part of the comprehensive flood mitigation strategy. As part of FEMA's grant requirements, these parcels be returned to nature, developed, undeveloped condition, significantly reducing flood risk for, creating the compliance with the flood mitigation grant. So staff's recommendation is to move forward with the acquisition of the 5 parcels. There's no financial impact.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Discussion on the resolution. Alderman Clem.
Yeah, I'd just like to bring up, this is a good example of the county and the city working together. This was developed years ago where properties that were in the floodplain or properties that were bought up and not sold on tax sales and stuff, the city would have the first option to take them over. So it's really worked out great, and this is a ideal way to get some properties down that need to go down. So thank you guys for doing that.
Any other discussion? Alderman Simmons?
Yes. So Manager Boyer, Mr. Stico, so I have noticed you have been way more vigilant in cutting, but acquiring these, this is a few different lots. What's the plan for maintenance and upkeep on those?
At this time, the ones that are wooded and have trees growing on them that are, decent urban canopy, that would just be left as it is. In terms of mowing lots, we'd have to look at the ones that don't have a significant canopy on them as to what we want to do with those. So I guess it would just be status quo in terms of what's there now would be the main thing, with some exceptions if necessary.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
I have a question.
Alderman Stacy?
So these buildings you have listed,
They're not buildings.
they will be
They're not buildings.
demolished?
They're not buildings. They're empty lots with trees on them and have never had structures.
Okay.
Alderman Sanders?
Yeah, from what I'm looking at, this is part of the mapping, right, and everything. This is kind of like where I think I'm right over here. I remember right. There's a lot of vacant areas surrounding the trees, as you were stating. And is it our objective is to remove the trees, knock them down, and create a lot for this area?
No, it would just status quo is basically so the city would own and control those parcels.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 8-0.
Item number 20 is the adoption of Resolution 2025-66. Could you please read this?
Resolution imposing censure on 3 council members who were willfully and deliberately absent from the May 19, 2025 council meeting.
Alderman Shadle?
Yes, I would actually like to table this. Alderman Simmons made reference to the fact that she may have not been deliberately absent. I would ask that before being put on a resolution, she have a meeting with yourself and Manager Boyer and put that to rest if need be.
How do you propose to do that?
she can have a meeting to present her point of view, or?
We're not high school kids, or we're not elementary.
You don't have the floor, Alderman.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. You know, we're not, well, let me be quiet.
So we have a motion to table this until, how do you?
Till the next council meeting.
Okay.
That would give 2 weeks' time to decide if this should go forward or not.
You need a second.
So we need a second if that's the will of the council.
I'll second it, just to make sure that if things are in line, they need to be in line, you know.
So we have a motion to move this item to the next regularly scheduled meeting with discussion in between. Discussion on that motion. You have discussion on that motion?
Yeah, because we shouldn't be making motions on something that is irrelevant to this council. And not only that, I don't like the fact that the condescending of the council members are being disrespected here at this time to even bring this matter into focus of the council. You know, I know it takes 2 people to bring this, but now the purpose for this has not been explained to us, and how would you be able to discern or investigate something of this nature? What is your practice and policy to investigate
Okay,
whether...
the motion on the table
Yeah,
is
that's-
to move it.
Okay,
Do you
oh,
want
to
to
move
talk
it.
about
Yeah,
motion to
okay.
move it?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so is there any other discussion about moving this to the next? Alderman Simmons.
I have another motion to table this indefinitely. Nobody else has to show or prove why they were not here. No one was there outside causing a disruption. I would like to table this indefinitely. This is a witch hunt.
I second.
Is there,
I second.
so we have a motion of tabling indefinitely by Alderman Simmons, seconded by Alderman Sanders. Is there discussion on tabling indefinitely?
I just have a question.
It would. You're right.
You have a
Yeah,
discussion
I
on
just want to
tabling?
say that I do want to say that there was commotion outside. And Rachel, I know you weren't here. Alderman Simmons, you were not here. You were nowhere around. But there was commotion, because even when I came in.
He was not here.
Huh?
He was not
No,
here.
but I
Stacy
don't.
was not here.
I wasn't there.
We were not here.
There was
No,
a
you-
council meeting, why weren't you here?
Right, but you know, you two
Do I
weren't.
call you
Yeah,
and
but
ask
that's
you
not,
why you're not here?
that's not
But
for us to explain to you.
I have the floor
to
right
you.
now. I have-
Nothing.
Sorry, I am sorry.
Okay.
I digress.
I have
Yeah.
the floor. And there was commotion, because even when I came in, there were TV stations here and a lot of commotion outside, and I didn't know what was going on. And the people from the TV station said there was going to be a walkout. So that's when I was confused on walking out on what? On what were they walking out on? So I do understand you guys weren't here, but there was commotion and a lot going on outside. So that's why I do understand it was a little bit disrespectful, because when 2 years ago, when we came to the council and we were being voted in, everybody, even though we won our elections, the people that sat in these seats, they watched us get sworn in, and when we took our place, they got up and they did the transition, and that's what I thought was really not right for us to also be there when the transitions was taking place. That's my point of view, and that's just how I feel about it, because we should have also been there to respect the same transition, because we did it. Because if they would have did it on us, we would have been upset, and we would have felt, like they were not treating us right. So that's my point of view from that. So I know you guys weren't here.
Second, final time, please.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
Can
you.
I have the floor for my second, final time, please?
Yes.
Okay. Again, your feelings aside.
Right.
The facts are, we were not there.
Right, I
We
said you
did
weren't
not
here.
cause a disruption. The meeting did still happen. So you cannot attach our names to that and say you want something from us because of what happened outside, and we were not present. I called no news stations. No news stations
I
had
didn't say
any
you.
words
I
from
said
me.
there was disruption.
But this is directed towards us, as though we caused that disruption, is what I'm saying.
I get it.
We did not cause that disruption. We called no news outlets. We were not here. Yes, I welcome you, Alderperson Johnson. I am sorry that I was not here for that. However, I am not the one succeeding my chair to her to say, welcome, here are the ropes. Okay, so there was no disrespect to you. But again, all of you miss. And I do not hold you and say, you need to explain to me why you weren't here. We're adults. We know what our responsibilities are. We handle our responsibilities. If something happens and we cannot be here, then that is the case.
Oh, I never said you were here. That's what I'm saying. You guys were here, but there was disruption.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, so the motion is tabled indefinitely by Simmons and Sanders.
Yeah, yeah. But
Madam Clerk, please take
is
the
it
roll
still
on
open
tabling
for-
it.
Is it still open for discussion?
Do you want to change tabling indefinitely?
Yeah, well, no, I don't want to change the tabling, but no, go ahead, go ahead. Just
Please take
throw
the
my
roll.
thought out the window.
Clem,
No.
Monroe, oh goodness, old sheet. Johnson,
No.
Simmons,
Yes.
Parker,
No.
Stacy,
Yes.
Shadle,
No.
Sanders,
Yes.
and Sellers.
No.
Oh my, 1, 2, 3, it fails 3-5.
Okay, so now I believe that the right order would be the original of Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Clem, to move this to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay.
But
Alderman,
also take their names off.
I don't know if that was the discussion. It was about having a discussion, correct?
I feel as though we had that discussion.
Well, can I speak? with this?
So, at the end of the day, there's still a motion and a second that was made to table this until the council meeting. So as long as Alderman Shadle's position and the second is still to table this to the next meeting, allowing for whatever conversations to be had just to confirm the reasons for Alderman Simmons not being here, which I know she stated already there, but if to allow for whatever follow-up that may or may not need to take place on that there, then that's what's pending before. So then there's still discussion on this motion then.
So discussion on moving it to the next meeting.
Is that where we're at?
That's where we're at.
Right, to table this for further to table this, to not vote on it tonight, but to table this to the next council meeting.
Okay, okay. No, we're not. All right.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Simmons,
No.
Parker,
Yes.
Stacy,
No.
Shadle,
Yes.
Sanders,
No.
and Sellers.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Jeez.
You know the count.
It passes 5-3.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 21. Could you please read this approval of bid?
Bid opening on May 23rd, test well number 12, including notice of intent to award to Peerless Well and Pump based on IEPA concurrence.
Manager Boyer?
Sorry about that. Thank you, Madam Mayor. The city held a public bid opening on May 23rd for the 4 phases of Well 12. So the project was broken up into 4 phases. The first phase is the test well. The second phase is the production well. Third phase is the treatment plant. And the fourth phase is water and sewer interconnection, piping, and so forth. So each of these individual projects is related to the installation of a new 1,300-foot deep production water well and treatment facility for the low zone of Freeport. The low zone is the largest area of Freeport that serves 65% of the city. These production well infrastructure projects were targeted and identified originally in the 2017 Comprehensive Infrastructure Upgrade Plan when the forever chemicals, or PFAS, was originally detected by the U.S. EPA doing random tests. Freeport was one of the first 500 communities in the country to be detected, and we now know this is an issue facing many cities across the United States. So city staff received bids for this complex project. The low responsive bidders are as follows for the 4 individual open contracts. So Peerless Well and Pump was the lowest responsive bidder on Contract A, the test well, at $831,960. Contract A1 is the production well for well 12, and that the lowest responsive bidder was also Peerless Well and Pump at a total amount of $2,441,650. And contract B was the well house number 12, and a 7-acre site work. The winning bidder was IHC Construction Companies, and the winning amount was $21,966,000. And contract C was the water and sewer main connections, and that was won by Kelsey Excavating out of Davis, Illinois, for $1,729,906. So the total cost of the well and the well house is $516. And this is the city's currently receiving or has waiting for our project to move forward, $13.2 million in funding through the Illinois EPA, as well as the emerging contaminant money and forgivable loans of $5 million, as well as some congressionally directed spending from Congressman Sorensen. So staff's recommendation is City Council to approve the lowest responsive bidder for each contract as listed. So, and the first one will be the test well.
Is there a motion to approve the bid as stated?
So moved.
Second.
The motion made by Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Sellers. Discussion on this bid. Alderman Sanders.
On a bid?
This is a bid. This bid that's packaged before you.
Oh, that's what this is all about, a bid. We had not
A
had a
list.
discussion on the overall, the overview of this project that is pending right
Darren,
now.
did you wanna-
So, have we had a discussion? That's the question I'm asking.
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Have we
This
had
is
a-
approving the bids.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons. Parker.
Aye.
Stacy. Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-1.
Item number 22 is the approval of another bid. Could you please read this?
Another bid opening on May 23rd for the production well number 12. Bid approval, including notice of intent to award to Peerless Well and Pump based on IEPA concurrence.
Thank you, Manager Boyer.
So as previously mentioned, the production well, the successful low bidder was $2,441,650, and that was also Peerless Well and Pump. Staff would request approval of this resolution moving forward with Peerless. I'm sorry, with this bid with Peerless.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Discussion on this bid. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Are you trying to reconnect, Stacy, or? No. Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The motion is approved 6-1.
Item 23, another bid approval. Could you please read this?
Also on May 23rd, well house number 12, including notice of intent to award to IHC Construction based on IEPA concurrence.
Thank you. Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. The lowest responsive bidder was IHC Construction at $21,966,000. And I will add that IHC is our current contractor at the wastewater treatment plant, and they've had an excellent track record of success. So I enthusiastically request City Council move forward with this.
Is there a
Madam
motion to
Mayor?
approve?
So move.
Second, but
We have a motion made by Alderman Shadle, seconded by Alderman Sellers. Discussion on this bid. Darren?
I just wanted to point out, when we tallied the bids for IHC, they made a tabulation error of $300,000 in the city's favor, and I discussed it with them, and they're going to honor the price that was tabulated, not what was read.
Thank you.
Bless them.
Good. That's good.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
aye.
The motion is approved, 6-1.
Item number 24, another bid approval.
This is the last of the 4 phases on May 23rd. Well House number 12, water main and sewer main extensions. Bid approval, including notice of intent to award to Kelsey Excavating based on IEPA concurrence.
Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kelsey Excavating was the lowest responsive bidder. The total amount was $1,729,906. And I will also note that Kelsey has worked for us in the past. They did the forced sewer main on Island Avenue, and that project went forward very well.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second,
Motion made by Shadle, seconded by Sellers. Madam Clerk, please take the roll for the bid.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
aye.
The motion is approved, 6-1.
And item number 25, another bid.
This bid opening was on May 30th, 2025, demolition of 7 residential properties.
Director Duckman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City of Freeport published a notice for the demolition and asbestos abatement of 7 properties in the Journal Standard on May 25th and held a bid opening on May 30th at 9:00 a.m. at City Hall. The city received bids from 5 contractors, and the lowest responsible bidder was Kleckner Excavating, who submitted the lowest responsible bid of $85,000 to demolish all 7 properties. The staff would recommend issuing the contract in that amount for the demolition of 7 properties, which is $85,000, as they are the lowest responsible bidder.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Clem, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Discussion on the bids.
Yes.
Alderman Sellers.
Yes, are these the properties that, and the money that's coming out of the mitigation grant that was?
Yes, yes, most of them, 6 of the 7 are.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The motion is approved, 6-1.
Item number 26, adoption of resolution 2025-67. Could you please read this?
Resolution approving construction engineering contract with Fairgram for project build of test well, well and well house number 12, and associated water main and sewer main extensions.
Manager Boyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Fairgram Design permitted and bid well 12 for 4 phases of water improvement projects. The IEPA funding requires professional construction engineering services for the 4 phases of the project improvements. The completion of well 12 project is in its entirety is required to close the before we close the Brick Street, the 1900s 140-year-old water treatment plant on Brick Street. Fairgram will provide professional construction resident engineering services to manage the 4 projects on behalf of the city. Engineering services will consist of full-time engineering observation and inspection, along with project management, contract management, loan, audit and closeout management, monthly, quarterly reporting, construction survey, layout, staking, specification assurance, among other listed items in the outline proposal. BABA compliance and certification documentation for these projects. That's the new Made in America requirements that are coming down from the federal government. These 4 construction projects consist of $26,969,516 in infrastructure improvements and will serve the city, residents, and businesses for the next 100 years with water production. These projects will require an estimated 30-month construction schedule to complete, and professional engineering services include construction engineering, staking, and full project management in the amount of $1,750,000. QA, QC material testing services are third-party services needed only, and resident construction engineering is part of the IEP loan process and is included by the state revolving fund program. Staff recommends moving forward with this agreement, and I will mention to you during the process or during the construction process of Well 11, their construction oversight has been invaluable, saving the city hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially more, in change orders or lack thereof, and ensuring that what we're paying for is what we're getting. Just one case in point was with Well 11. There was an oversight as far as the tank was, the main clear well was constructed. Fairgram was diligent about designing a work or a good solution to resolve the issue, and at the end of the day, the city did not incur any costs, and the clear well was built to revised specifications that is actually, I think, better than the original design. So that's one case in point, as well as the support that we've had throughout the transition from the contractor to the city staff. We've had an excellent transition and inspection period where we've resulted in the project basically going off without a hitch. There's always glitches, but the contractors were held to account in this case for Well 11, and they did an excellent job in insulating the city from change orders that were unnecessary. So I enthusiastically recommend moving forward with this resolution.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Johnson, seconded by Alderman Shadle. Discussion on the resolution. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Clem.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Simmons.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
No.
And Sellers.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 6-1.
Item number 27 is discussion regarding updates on 17 and 19 West Main Street for the cleaners. Darren?
Yeah, I just wanted to give the council an update on the 17 and 19 Main Street dry cleaners that we're working on demolition. We've been working on it for an awful long time. We had a lot of issues getting into the neighboring buildings because one of them is vacant. They're conjoined buildings, so we had to come up with a solution to unattach the 2 buildings and also support those structures, and then come up with remediation to make sure the other structures would be sound once we're done. We are waiting on EPA approval to bid, which we believe will be sometime here in June, and the target would be to have the buildings down before the end of the year. It's going to depend when they give us the green light to go. All of our funding is still in place. We haven't drawn any of the funding yet because you have to complete the project to draw it. Once we are awarded, I believe we have 4 years to complete the project. Please know that one of the largest difficult issues that we have right now is the building that is conjoined to the dry cleaners. The roof caved in about 1.5 years ago at least, and so it's very dangerous to access the building. It's very dangerous to come up with the plan to try to get it down and not destroy the rest of downtown while we're doing it. There's just not a lot of space there, so please be patient. You'll see it bid. The finances are still there for it, and we hope to have it at least completely demolished before the end of the year.
Thank you. Item number 28 is discussion on how a quorum was established for the May 19th council meeting. Alderman Sanders.
Yes, I'm misunderstanding our protocol. And I understand that if the protocol of how we conduct the order of our council chamber meetings, that includes the mayor, attorney, and everybody that's in the process with the protocol of the quorum. I want to know, is this consistent with how we do things when it comes to quorums? And have we changed our protocol or our ways of doing things for second roll call? And my question is, when the first roll call took place, why was it necessary to have a second roll call? Someone needs to explain that one to me, because with the first roll call, business has been, the process has been started. When was the first roll call canceled? And was it terminated? Or was it erased or excluded in order for us to have a second roll call? So I'm trying to figure out how that we establish the protocol for roll calling and then end up with 2 sessions of roll calls to conduct any kind of meeting. So give me the understanding, and I'm quite sure the public wants to know, are we consistent with what we're doing when it comes to roll call and when you have a quorum put in place at the very first roll call? If there's no quorum, then there shouldn't have been a second roll call. That's my thought on that, and that's my opinion on that. The people of this community will like to know, how do you stage a second roll call when the first one should have been sufficient? The first roll call is how we work the process and how we conduct the council meetings and things of this nature. The first roll call explained everything of what is supposed to happen at that point. And so I'm just trying to figure out, how is it that we end up conducting a second roll call
Sure.
without an explanation?
Sure. So the first roll call was a standard roll call. The number of aldermen that were called, there were 5 aldermen roll call. What the difference with the second roll call is that because on Inauguration Day, traditionally then, anytime once the new alderman or the elected alderman, the newly elected alderman, and they might be the same people, then they're traditionally, after they're seated, you would do a roll call again to take a roll as to those newly elected alder people. So when you were seated, there was a second roll call also. When the outgoing alderman left their seat and you came and sat in your seat, then there was another roll call taken where they called your name. So that's all in the same thing.
Yeah, but the one thing you're forgetting, that there was not an established quorum to even do a second roll call, and that's what you keep omitting.
And I can explain that.
And I'd like to hear you put that on the record that you did that.
Sure.
Because for what reason that you injected a second roll call when the quorum was not a business process, when it should have been canceled or made it invalid to have any other business before the council in order to establish a second roll call.
So earlier in the day on that Monday, the city council was, or not the city council, the city manager was made aware through the media that there might not be enough alder people to conduct the meeting, that there might be people. The media had heard that.
Kidding me?
No, that's what the media told the city.
That's what someone said.
Correct, that there might not be enough people for a quorum.
Basing it on hearsay.
Well,
Let him
certainly,
answer the question.
that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, you need to let him answer the question.
So, based off of that information, Alderman Johnson was sworn in ahead of time. There's no obligation that the swearing in of an alderperson has to be done during a meeting. There, so it can take place before, because the ceremony is ceremonial. The swearing in is ceremonial. It can take place outside.
But
So
that's
that was done.
unacceptable. That's very unacceptable, and you know that.
Well,
And,
the Attorney
that's-
General would choose to say that it was perfectly fine.
Well, if you don't have a quorum, the Attorney General won't say that. I'm almost sure of it, and you can't put words in the Attorney General's mouth. And
I
the
think you'll
articles
find
are-
that.
the ar-
You'll find the Attorney General's finding attached to your question. So,
Yeah, I got it. I got it. But
okay, so the Attorney
but-
General's finding stands.
Yeah, but it's the establishment of the findings of this council. The Attorney General does not conduct business for this county and the council. They don't do that. And so in order for that to have happened, it's all within our structure that shouldn't have happened, because a second meeting or second quorum shouldn't have never taken place. When the first one was not business orientated, then the first one should be that. It should be dissolved at that point. And whatever you did, and this does not change anything of what the general attorney was saying. That doesn't change anything, because we set the standards here in the council. And
So are you saying that you did not attend in hopes to not have a quorum?
no, I didn't say that. Don't try to.
That's why I'm asking you.
Don't put that out there.
I'm asking
You
you.
cannot put that out there, Mayor.
Well, you're
because you've
alluding
drawn
to
an
there was no
assumption.
quorum.
You are drawing an assumption.
You are alluding to there was no quorum, and the Attorney General's
well, if
finding
it-
says that where there was a quorum.
The council conduct the processing, not Zito, nor the mayor determines that. It's already set in stone, and this is the practice that we've been practicing since the 2 years that I've been here.
And Alderman Sanders,
Yeah.
we followed the exact same process, okay? Because at the end of the day, at the beginning of the meeting, the clerk took the roll of the aldermen that were elected, and there were 5 aldermen who had been elected and sworn in present, so that constituted a quorum.
There shouldn't have been an election, because the quorum was dissolved.
Okay,
There
so
was
by
no
the findings of the Attorney General,
There was
that
no
is
quorum.
the final. So Alderman Clem.
So the reason that 3 people didn't show up so we couldn't do business that doesn't
Well,
have
your
anything to do with it.
accusation and your condescending remarks are very.
That may be condescending, but it's
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah,
That makes the
but-
third time.
but you
Part of
can't-
your agreement. to be
Nobody
a-
asked you for
I got
your
the floor.
opinion. I don't
Alderman
care.
Clem has
You
the
don't,
floor.
you don't insult people.
Alderman Clem has the floor.
Yeah, well,
Since I've been an alderman this time, the same day that you were sworn in,
you know
you
what?
guys have
Please stop interrupting.
completely abandoned meetings 3 times. Is that good for
resent
the?
that accusation.
What's
So,
that?
I resent that accusation.
You can resent it all you want,
Yeah,
but you weren't
because
here.
it's not true.
It is
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, you make it sound like
How
it's a
about the
pack.
special meeting we had where none of you showed? How about that?
Okay.
You know, we're not
okay.
here for the hell of it. We're trying to fix
are-
roads, we're trying to
Are
do
you
stuff.
judge,
for-
are you the judge and
Why
the
don't you shut up a
prosecutor?
minute?
Okay,
Why don't
okay.
you shut up?
Okay.
Why don't you
This
shut
is
up?
becoming out of order. This is out of order.
You're not the prosecutor nor the judge.
All right. We need to, everyone will be dismissed. We'll have a meeting adjourned if we're going to continue to act like children. Alderman Shadle, would you like to say something?
I just would like to read from the correspondence from the Office of the Attorney General, Kwame Raoul,
Same thing.
dated May 30th, 2025, and the finding letter signed by Katie Goldsmith, Assistant Attorney General, that even if the newly elected Alderperson Johnson did not count towards a quorum at the first roll call, however, the 4 other alderpersons and the mayor comprised a quorum. Because a quorum of the members of the council were present and answered the roll call during the meeting, this office has determined that no further action is warranted with respect to your allegation. This letter serves to close this file If you have any questions, please contact me at the Chicago address at the bottom.
Okay, this discussion is final. We'll move on to department heads. Finance,
Nothing, Your Honor.
community development,
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
public works,
Nothing tonight.
thank you. Fire,
Nothing as well from fire.
thank you. Police,
I have no report tonight.
library,
All right, let's end this on a little bit of a positive note. Summer reading kickoff is Monday, June 9th at 1 p.m. You can sign up for summer reading, and we'll have crafts, tattoos, touch a truck, and games. This year, we're also hosting a drop-in craft for teens and adults to celebrate our kickoff. The drop in and make some yarn fringe art between 3 and 7 p.m. And all families unable to attend kickoff events are welcome to come in and sign up for summer reading anytime we are open starting Monday, June 9th at 3 p.m.
thank you. IT, city manager.
Nothing tonight.
I just have two things. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the YIELD program. The YIELD program is a 14-week training that helps prepare individuals for building trades. They are in the process of getting ready for their next round, which starts June 9th. And so if you are age 18 or older and have a high school diploma or a GED, you are eligible. It gives classroom training, on-the-job pay. It has supporting services in case you need them for transportation or childcare. And it also gives you the assistance in helping to find full-time work after the training is done. If it's something you would like to be a part of, please contact the Boys and Girls Club. Also, on Saturday, please mark your calendars for the High Hope event for the Peace March. It is called the End the Cycle, Stop Community Violence. It is to stand in unity for the Memorial Peace March again on Saturday, which starts at 11 o'clock at the Madonna Renewal Center, which is near the intersection of Walnut and Empire. So if you'd like to join with that, you are welcome to do so. With that, Alderman Clem.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Alderman Johnson.
Yes, I'd just like the people in Ward 2 to know that the flushing of the water mains in our ward started today with Laurel Street, Revere, Concord, Parkcrest, Middlebury, Alamo, Bedford, Greenfield, and Sheffield. And also, last week there was mention of some rust in water when a person turned on their faucet. That bothered me because I remember as a kid my grandma had terrible rust in her water and she'd put Kool-Aid in it and we'd still drink it. And it still tasted terrible. So anyway, so I did ask some questions about that, wanting to know what we could do about rust in the water. I talked with Manager Boyer, and he said with the new well there's a lot of things in there that will remove the rust and iron from the majority of the water in the city. And I also talked with Darren Steekel. So Darren, would you please reiterate what causes rust in water and some things that people can do at home to help so the water doesn't taste so bad, or what they can do for the rust?
Sure. So there's lots of items that cause rust in water. One of the items is piping has what's called biofilm in it. A lot of our older pipe is made of ductile iron or cast iron, which creates a kind of a rusty biofilm on the insides of the pipes. That's why we do annual flushing programs to flush that out of the mains. You can see right now, if we get a large fire, we can stir it up by shifting the way water flows through the pipes. We kind of scour it. Residents, we actually, I believe, put a tutorial on the city's website today on what residents can do to be active at their houses. Generally speaking, you want to flush the water at your house through a tub faucet or the lowest faucet in your house that doesn't have an aerator on it for a few minutes, and that usually flushes your pipe out. You are kind of the endpoint source, so it can push into the houses. Lower users can actually be more susceptible. Elderly people that don't use as much water, don't have as many kids using water. If you want to be more vigilant, there's Brita pitchers that you can purchase at Walmart or Farm and Fleet here in town that remove lots of constituents. It's not necessary. Our water is safe to drink, but if you feel that you need that, please move forward with that. Some of the rust that gets stirred up is actually from the residential piping in your house, especially if you have an older home. The city is not responsible for residential piping, but we also help people investigate that. So if you have rusty water calls, please go to 815-235-8210 Public Works, and our utility superintendent will follow up with you, or environmental compliance officer, and help you figure out whether it's city water or if it's actually your piping, and we can do some testing, water testing like we do daily to figure that out. I think that's about everything you asked me.
Okay, and then I just have something for Wendy to give to her. She mentioned somebody that does have problems with their water, and I don't have a lot of money. I'm on a fixed income like a lot of other people, but if you can do something good for someone, you need to do it. So I'm just going to give her this. She can give it to whoever she feels that needs it.
Right. One last thing. So one thing I'd like to mention, regardless to what Linda said, she asked me for a figure today about how much older piping that we have still within the system, and the city of Freeport still has about 81 miles of water main that was installed before 1970, and about 45 miles of that was installed before 1930 that's still in service.
Alderman Simmons?
Yeah, I'm going to say something. So I spoke more this evening than I have pretty much since I've been here, but hopefully you all see what is going on, the selective enforcement of ordinances. We had an alderman just swear and yell at another alderperson, and there was nothing done until till Alderman Sanders replied. The way we handle this, y'all, is we get out and vote. Please do that in the upcoming elections. You have plenty of time to go register, to research candidates you are interested in, but please exercise that right. Because as you see, here in these chambers, what you want does not matter.
Alderman Parker?
Quick question, where's that march start on Saturday?
At the Madonna Renewal on Walnut.
On Walnut. Okay, thank you. I got nothing else.
Alderman Shadle?
Just want to mention that we're going to move the July Neighborhood Watch meeting from the 3rd, being adjacent to the holiday. We're going to move it to Thursday, July 10th. I'll mention that again at the second council meeting this month.
Alderman Sanders?
Yeah, I'd like to make a suggestion to our Public Waterworks director that we start a campaign, because I like what you were saying, that I think every citizen in the city of Freeport would love to get on board with this water rehabilitation systems for the residents. Far as the inspection is concerned, or the replacement of water services and things of that nature, we should start a campaign throughout the city, because if there had been any problems at any point in time where the people of the residents don't have the proper filters to determine whether or not they're getting any kind of rust contaminants or whatever the case may be, impurity or whatever, we should start a campaign to do an overview of assessment of our city water services to the residents' homes and things of this nature. I know we do testing. I know we can do that to make some kind of analysis about what the standards of their water quality is. And the investment that you're referring to, as far as water filters attaching to their service, it's a big deal to some folks who don't understand what is happening and why they should purchase one. They should get one regardless. It doesn't matter whether it's for protection from the water that we're receiving. We should get one regardless. And I think we should project that image out to the residents that no matter how clean you think your water is, I think we should be what I'm saying, advertising water filters for homes, or we start a campaign for water filters for home for the public residents. And I think once they are educated and knowledgeable about why it is, then we're not incompetent. It's just the fact that the knowledge is not getting out there, the notifications. I know we do boil water orders and things of this nature, but we don't give them solutions on what we can, additional solutions on how to protect themselves, for even the fact that we have to do boil orders and things of this nature. So I just wanted to put that out there because I thought that was a great thing to do, you know, and so I hope our citizens take that notice that you made in regards to their own lives and things of this nature. So that's all.
Alderman Sellers?
Nothing.
We'll move on to public comments. Are there any public comments this evening?
I'd like to set the record straight on Don Parker. I've known Don for almost 50 years, and I'd like to just tell the truth about what kind of man he is. I respect him. He has a life of service. He started out young age. He served in the Air Force, and after that, he wanted to protect Freeport. He became a law enforcement officer. He also has been chief of police, which carried a lot of responsibility. After that, he became a member of the county board, and I guess that's when I really got to know you. You know, he went to, I don't know how many meetings to better Stevenson County, and now here he is serving in the city council. He spent a lifetime of service to protect our country and also to make Freeport a better community. So I applaud you. And anybody who thinks otherwise, then they need to ask him. It's wrong.
Would you please state your name?
My name is Debbie Leininger. I live at 1980 Woodside Drive. I have one other comment. I've never witnessed until this past couple years the attacks, the disrespect that has gone on in this city council towards our mayor, towards our city council, to Rob Boyer, city members, council members, and a lot of these lies, insinuations that people are doing things illegally. This is wrong. And our community should be one of brotherly love. It has always been that way until recently. And now there's this division and discord. And so I pray, this is a sincere prayer in my heart, that things will change, that people will respect one another, that they'll operate in love and in truth, and we'd become a better community for that. I noticed by looking at YouTube that the people who are viewing this, it's gone way up. It used to be a few people, but now it's way up. And I think it's because of the behavior of city council members towards one another.
Thank you.
Another public comment?
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Altman. My first thing is the trees. Hiring somebody to cut the trees down. $73,000 when we have our own forestry department. Why are they not doing it? $73,000 could be going to the roads, going to the lights, but no, we're going to pay somebody else. Next thing you say the water's safe. Why did I get a thing in the mail saying all the symptoms that the drinking the water of Freeport could do? Low birth weight, cancer, that's real safe to me. Also, I want to thank the aldermen who were standing out there, standing up for what they believe. I appreciate that. Second, streets. Little town of Rydot, less than 150 people in the town of Rydot. but every street and alleyway is blacktop. But Freeport's not, and I can guarantee you they get more money than RIDOT. Also, I want to say, Parker, I don't think that was very professional what you did last week. I'm not saying you're not a bad person, but what you did was unacceptable. I agree. But you're not the only alderman that has spoke out. Joyce Elder has too. And that's disrespectful. When we're up here, this is our public comment. That means you listen. You don't interrupt us. You don't criticize us. We're not criticizing you. Matter of fact, I just said, you know, your service was great, and I appreciate it. And Joyce Heller, there were no issues outside the other day at that meeting. I don't know what you were on, what you're taking, but there was no issues. The television station, there's maybe 6 people out there. We were not making a commotion. We were not raising any issues. You must have a guilty conscience.
Next.
Paige Kerr, 103 Arbor Drive. I stand before you today out of a deep commitment of our community's integrity and future. Our city leadership must be beyond reproach, ensuring that public trust is not only earned, but maintained. Currently, we face a troubling overlap of roles in the leadership of the Greater Freeport Partnership and City Council members. These dual roles raise significant concerns over conflict of interest and the proper use of public funds. When a single individual holds multiple positions, it blurs the lines between public duty and private interest. Our community deserves leaders who are fully focused on the welfare of our city. Quite frankly, this isn't even about Jody or Rob. This is about preserving the ethical standards of our community. So again, I ask that this city council prioritizes transparency and accountability. There needs to be stricter guidelines and oversight, and it's crucial for our future. We deserve a city council where public service is not overshadowed by personal or organizational gain. It is all of our civil duty to ensure that our city's future is guided by honesty, integrity, and a true commitment to the public good. Thank you.
Next.
All right, good evening. My name is Joshua Atkinson, 717 West Stevenson Street. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Manager, City Staff, and the Council. First, Debbie had left, but I wanted to really address her here with this. Alderman Parker, I like Alderman Parker. I've met with him. He was one of the few of you that would meet with me a year ago, and I've respected him. The problem is she talked about who Alderman Parker was, not who Alderman Parker is right now. An alderperson, elected official that would tell a constituent standing up here like myself to shut up and get out. Not acceptable. An alderman that would sit here earlier at this meeting during public comment and laugh in that same constituent's face. So let me get on to the point here. Thank you. Since the mayor took the opportunity this weekend to imply those in this city that question her on social media liars and troublemakers, I figured you'd prefer me to say the facts to your face and tell you exactly why your job has gotten harder. It's harder because you are accustomed to going unchallenged. You've been spoiled, and I'm sorry for that. Here's the problem. This meeting started out with 6 members of this community trying to talk to you, and they weren't listened to. Rather, the mayor joked around with the city attorney. Our alderperson at large played on her phone, and Alderman Parker laughed in the face of a constituent. Later on, Alderman Clem smugly asked the city attorney to explain how our government works. Thank you. We all now know that the city council is the legislative body and sets policy. In that spirit, why is our city attorney presenting policy change? Alderman Sanders asked who put that item on the agenda. Never got answered. That's why your job's harder. Asked a simple question. Who put it on there? Why aren't we telling the people of Freeport who put it on there? About censuring other alder people. Alderman Clement came out later too that, you know, he ran his mouth, right? We all run our mouth, we get angry, he broke a council rule, right? Are we gonna add him to that list for that next meeting? A couple of weeks ago, months ago, maybe Alderman Clam put his hands on Alderman Monroe. Did we censure him for that? No. You guys need a fresh start here. Now, since we wanted to talk about the Attorney General situation, I got that letter too. Thank you for reading portions of that letter.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
That was 3 minutes.
So is there any other public comments?
Wendy Pearson, 1323 South Chicago Avenue. I find it ironic that the individual that stood up here to praise our former chief of police wasn't told 3 minutes, 2 minutes. She was allowed to continue to talk. And he's absolutely right. Part of the letter was read. They don't want you to hear the other part of it. And as far as what she had to say about Parker, we know how Parker became the chief of police. We also know that his indignant comments and his smirking isn't going to change a thing. The other thing you need to understand is this. If you censor them and fine them, you won't be able to do it to us. And we're going to be standing before the city council continuously supporting the aldermen that we have voted in and not supporting the mess that's going on up in the city council. 2 other things. The justice, 3. The mayor has been sitting on a commission for the past 3 years with other mayors in regarding crime. The last peace walk that the mayor did started at the old Germania, went down Adams, around Liberty, towards and past the Raleigh building. Day before that, there were shootings on Liberty and the 800 block of Carroll. Never did this so-called peace walk go into the communities where there is actual shootings and killings happening. This thing is starting on Walnut. Have there been shootings on Walnut? I don't think so. Joke. You're sitting on a commission is a joke because everything you've sat there for the past 3 years hasn't trickled down to Freeport because the shootings are happening. People are being murdered. Your peace walk is a slap in the face and a joke. If it's not going to go into the communities where their actual shootings are occurring, you're not doing anything. As far as Parker is concerned, Parker had a whole daggone police department behind him. I had me and 5, possible 6 neighbors to shut down drug houses, to stop shootings, to do walks in our community. Those of you that are sitting at this city council, half of you have never stepped foot in the area where there are shootings and murders. The mayor has never, ever came to a balloon release when a child 13 years old was murdered or anybody else. The only emotional person that has something to say about murders in our community was Summers, and the reason that Summers had something to say, and the reason that he was
Your time has
emotional
expired.
is because the person that was murdered was his
Wendy.
friend on the basketball court.
Please refrain. And for the record, every public comment gets 3 minutes. Don't know where your thought is on 2. Is there any other public comments this evening? Tommy.
Watch my clock. Watch yours.
My birthday was today.
Happy birthday, Tommy.
I'm Alderman Sanders, as you guys may know. I just want to make a couple of points and to learn so we can stand before you and try to educate those that have not truly understand the parliamentary of the council and the government within itself. I know you're going to listen to me very attentively, but the inconsistencies of our council, and I'm part of that, is that the involvement in siding with the populace of this community does not trickle down or trickle out of this council. Whatever the body wants or the citizen wants, we are not responding to their needs, is what we're not doing. Just like the inconsistencies on protocols and quorums and how we're conducting business. There's no inconsistencies here. When someone is reading someone else's laws and articles and governing, does not always apply to Freeport. Why? Because we have Robert rules or rules. We got those in place that helps us to determine what our focus is as government electors. And so for someone to read something that came out of Chicago to set standards and rules and things of this nature on how we should conduct ourselves, there's inconsistency on what we're doing because we don't follow those exact rules that was read today that came out of Chicago. We don't follow them rules. It's only convenient when it's convenient to try to apply it over the citizens and the council try to apply something that has nothing to do with our jurisdiction, nor does we follow or implement the rules of this city or the state. We do not adhere to those things. We have our own ways of doing things. That's the reason why the Robert Rule order is in place, because that's what we govern ourselves by. But the council has lack of integrity to challenge anyone.
Your time has expired. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other public comments this evening? Please.
Michelle Swald, 5984 Country Court. I would just like to say about the Peace March that you guys, that they're doing. I feel like we're taking it in a wrong way, that they just want to spread it out and walk different routes probably in Freeport. And as far as also going along with those peace, I think it's called High Hope. They had a block party on Frank in Chicago, where I think a lot of violence takes place, if I'm not mistaken. And instead of like complaining about what they're doing, why don't we try to actively get involved to make an impact? Because there's a lot of complaining, but there's not a lot of action also in going with what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring peace to Freeport, to make a stand for Freeport. So I went to Church on the Street, and I will tell you that Mayor Jody was there, Rob was there, Linda was there, and Joy Sellers was there. So, I mean, don't say that they don't show up to streets that have problems, because they were there. Thank you.
Thank you. No comments, or you'll be ruled out of order. Larry, the meeting's not done yet.
I know that. Okay. Why are you asking me? I'm going to the men's room.
Oh, I thought you were leaving.
Got all his stuff.
That's okay. I can take it with me. There's nothing wrong with that.
Diane? If you are out of order again, I'm going to have you removed. That's your warning, Chief. If she does it again, please remove her.
Could you please restart the clock since I haven't had a chance? Thank you. I have a question because I need clarification on this quorum issue as well. I have read and I saw the letters and I've seen what that says. But I also know that our own city ordinances about a quorum do not include the mayor. So what I want to know is, how is it that a couple hours before all this commotion happened last week, it was okay to include you as part of a quorum when our own ordinances don't state that? So I'm wondering, do we need to change that ordinance, or was it, which one is the one we're supposed to follow? Because I thought as home rule, you're able to make your own kinds of ordinances to make things flow better and work better within the community. That's how I understand how home rule can work. But it just seemed like it got really convenient when this letter came through to make that difference, that now the state is more important than what we choose to do with our ordinances under home rule. And home rule, with our ordinance as it stands, the mayor is not named as part of the quorum. So I need clarification on that personally, that I do not understand. And secondly, Mr. Shadle, I appreciate your willingness to reconsider number 20 tonight. You and Mr. Klein, I hope you will reconsider what you do with that, because again, I think there is an unfairness that is coming down about that based on what we've learned tonight about two people, and I really do hope that you will reconsider what happens with that ordinance. I would hope that we do not have to vote on it, but I don't have the power to make that difference. I'm just expressing my opinion and asking you to examine your consciences and your heart about what truly is appropriate when that comes along. So I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Sellers, seconded by Shadle. All those in favor?
Aye.
She's not on.